It's another gorgeous spring afternoon for baseball at Target Field, and thanks to yesterday's win, the Twins have a chance to win this series for the Reds in the series finale. Right-hander Tyler Mahle, and for the Twins, right-hander Jose Berrios. And we welcome you to Target Field. Dick Raymer along with Justin Morneau for the series finale. Jose Berrios has very quickly emerged as the Twins' ace this year, and he's got the ball here today with the Twins hoping to build a winning streak.
He's been very good in the starts where he's been good this year. He's had the shutout early, and he's one of those guys that just has the ability to dominate a baseball game. And it all starts with his fastball command, his ability to throw the fastball anywhere in the strike zone. He can go up, he can elevate, he can paint down and away, and that sets up everything else. And when he has fallen behind in the count, he has been shown that he's comfortable throwing his off-speed stuff so they can't just lock in on his fastball in a hitter's count. And then when he gets 2 strikes, it's been impressive to see what he's been able to do. He gets some good major league hitters looking very bad on some nasty pitches, and hopefully we get to see him work ahead in the count today and get some chases just like he's doing there, and the Twins series win.
Well, Berrios has been a swing and miss pitcher. He's also had a hit and miss history so far in 2018. He's had 3 starts this year where he hasn't given up a run. All the runs have scored in 2 starts, including his most recent start in Yankee Stadium against the Yankees. And so the Twins will hope to win this series, and they'll hope to get the type of start they got yesterday from Jake Odorizzi. So far in this series, we've seen how awful it is when your starter doesn't give you 6 innings and how efficient a game can be played when he does.
And you get the matchups with the guys you like. Zach Duke is one of the best lefty-lefty pitchers in the game. That's why they brought him in. You can put him in the situation yesterday. He did the job. You get the bullpen to the setup guy, then you get it to the closer, and that's the way Paul Molitor wants to run it. And it worked out great yesterday. Hopefully have the same formula today.
It's been a while since Twins fans have had a starting pitcher that would really get them excited to come to the ballpark and watch on TV. Jose Berrios has become that guy this year for the Twins, and he'll make his 6th start of the year when we come back.
Today it's perfect, absolutely perfect. And it is our privilege to bring you Twins baseball from this beautiful ballpark here today. And with Jose Berrios on the mound, Twins are confident that they can win a ball game again here today, win the series. Jim Riggleman was the bench coach for the Reds a couple weeks ago. Brian Price got fired. Riggleman given the job on an interim basis. And here is his Menard's batting order for the series finale. Jesse Winker leading things off. Jose Peraza batting second, then Joey Votto, Scooter Gennett, Eugenio Suarez, Scott Schebler, Adam Duvall, Tucker Barnhart, and Alex Blandino. And the home furniture starting pitcher for the Twins is their ace, Jose Berrios. Berrios had a disappointing outing on many levels his last time out against the Yankees. First pitch lifted to the left field corner, and Rosario tracking it, making the catch right in front of the fence. The wind blowing from the right field foul pole to the left field pole, the opposite of what we've had in the first 2 games of this series. 1 down.
It's always interesting to see how this ballpark plays during the day compared to at night. The ball seems to carry a little bit better. It looked like that ball had a little extra carry on it right there. It was a little one to wake you up on a day game right there. Scare you a little bit. You start drifting on it, and you went back and made the play.
Saw the Northland Ford defense for the Twins. Down and away, ball 1 to Jose Peraza. So a nice job rebounding from a slow start. He started his year 0 for 12 as he averaged up in the high 200s. Slap foul, 1-1. Berrios, as we showed you in the pregame show, has pitched awfully well in this ballpark. Had an unusually bad start here against Seattle. There's a ball to left center field, and the game's first hit, dropping in front of Rosario. It's a 1-out single. And that'll bring up Joey Votto. Reds put on a hitting show Friday night.
He got himself a breaking ball, didn't try to do too much with it. Outer part of the plate, stayed through it. Just a nice piece of hit, and you're thinking pull there, and you end up rolling over on a ground ball to short. He did everything you want to do as a hitter right there, and hopefully we get set up for a double play right here.
Twins pull the infield around for Votto. snap throw to first. Mahle making the catch and Peraza getting back. You're talking about Votto yesterday and how with 2 strikes he'll choke up, but here he's starting this at bat. And he's not only just choking up, he's choking up a couple inches on the bat.
And you used to see Barry Bonds used to do that. You know, they say if you move your hands closer to the barrel of the bat, that your bat control is going to be a little bit better. And he looks at pitchers, and he's obviously spent a lot of time looking at Berrios, and he'll look at hard contact and how guys are hitting him, and sometimes he'll adjust his swing to that. If there's a guy he feels comfortable on that he can swing from his heels on, he'll do that. And if it's a guy, you know, an ace type guy like Berrios, he'll make that adjustment, and he'll shorten up his swing. He tries to put the ball in play and just make it easier to get the barrel to the ball.
2-0 to Votto with a runner at first and 1 down. That drifts outside. Berrios doesn't walk many people, but Votto walks an awful lot. There were 2 walks and 2 home runs allowed by Berrios in his last start against the Yankees, bringing his season total to 3. 3 walks in more than 30 innings. 3-0 to Votto. And a 4-pitch walk. Now runners at first and second with 1 down. That'll bring up Scooter Gennett. 36 strikeouts against just 3 walks. And the math is the same up in Canada as it is in the United States. That's 12 strikeouts per walk coming into play today. Our Dairy Queen combination.
You couldn't ask for anything more than that. That'll set you up to limit the amount of base runners you have, the better chance you have of having quick innings and lasting deep into the ballgame.
Scooter Gennett will bat. Deep drive down the right field line. What a foul ball. What we've seen because of that, I think, is a lot of first pitch swings. We saw it in Jesse Winker's at bat, making it out on the game's first pitch. Now Gennett goes after the first pitch because people know about the wipeout breaking ball. They don't want to get to 2 strikes and face the prospect of trying to put that thing in play.
Yeah, there's so much data now that lets you know a guy's tendencies before you get in the batter's box, and it looks like they've
changeup got him.
They've checked the scouting report, and you know, when you do that, you see if the Twins adjust early and if they go to the off-speed stuff more of the first pitch, and you know, usually the game plan is establish the fastball, try and work ahead, but if the team's showing you they're going to swing early, you can go to that off-speed stuff earlier and get some chases early in the count and get some quick outs that way.
See if Berrios goes to the breaking ball here on an 0-2 pitch. Fastball sailing up and away.
I think that's something you see a lot more, especially the last couple of years, is guys elevating that 4-seam fastball. The strike zone's expanded a little bit, and they're starting to call a lot of stuff around the belt or above the belt. So the pitchers have really taken notice, and they've taken advantage of it.
1-2 to Gennett. Down the middle. Ground ball. Dozier flips to second. They'll get just 1. And there are 2 down now. There will be runners on the corners with 2 out. And that'll bring up Suarez.
And the pitch before that was really the pitch that set up the ground ball. The high fastball changes the eye level and allows the hitter to think that you have to respect that velocity. You have to be ready to hit that fastball, and then he drops that changeup in there at 82 miles an hour. A 12-mile-an-hour difference is a pretty big difference between a fastball and a changeup, and you get him out front like you did, and you get a ground ball.
Suarez with a chance to drive in the game's first run. Breaking ball hit to the corner and left, and the Reds get a first inning run against Berrios. Suarez swinging at the first pitch and hitting a breaking ball for an RBI double.
It looked like he went with the get me over strike 1 breaking ball, and he just hung it just enough and got a good piece of it. Hits a double. Didn't quite get it where he wanted to. A little bit up in the zone. That's the one that a hitter can do damage with, even if he's not looking for it. I'm sure he was looking fastball right there, and it just ended up being a hanging breaking ball, and pulled it in the corner, managed to keep it fair.
Schebler will hit, the 6th man to hit this inning. So 5 at-bats have been completed on just 13 pitches. Breaking ball tapped to the right side. Dozier has a play, and getting the runner Schebler by a step. Couple of hits, a walk, and the first run of the game going to the Reds. With this Menard's batting order, Brian Dozier followed by Joe Mauer, Eddie Rosario, Eduardo Escobar, Max Kepler, Robbie Grossman, Lance Morris, Logan Morrison rather, A-Ray Adrianza, and Jason Castro. And the home furniture starting pitcher for the Reds, right-hander Tyler Mahle, who can strike people out. He can also give up some long balls. He's already given up 7 home runs in 27 innings. Dozier with a swing and a foul, 1 strike.
He throws a lot of first pitch fastballs, and I'm sure Dozier saw that on the report before and went up there looking for it and got one but missed it.
Foul back, 0-2. Brian, of course, is struggling a bit to hit home runs. He hasn't hit one since April 4th. Duvall, Schebler, and Winker, the outfielders. Suarez, Peraza, Blandino, Votto around the infield with Tucker Barnhart doing the catching. 0-2. And now 1-2. Twins have scored 91 runs in 22 games, just a little over 4 runs per game. Won a ball game yesterday, scoring just 3 runs. My fastball gets Dozier, 1 away. And it'll bring up Joe Mauer. Pizza Ranch for the win. See what Justin thinks the Twins have to do to have success against Mahle.
Well, you're gonna have to get him down in the zone. He's got a short arm, but what I mean by that is usually it seems like he brings his ball from his hip right up to his ear. Not quite the same length in the arm action that the previous 2 starters had. He's got some ride on his fastball, so the ball that's at the belt, you see a lot of guys swing under it, kind of like we just saw with Dozier.
Outside, ball 1 to Joe Mauer.
He appeared to be more comfortable on the arm side, which right-handed pitcher, so that would be into the right-handed hitters and away, up and away to the left-handed hitters. He's cross-body, so it would make sense that he has better command on that side of the plate.
Foul back, 1-1. Joe's average a few ticks below 300. He has 21 hits and 21 walks and an on-base percentage of .452. Six doubles on the year. And that pitch outside, 2-1.
If we go back to watch Dozier's at bat, this is what I was talking about, that life up in the zone. It just sort of takes off on him and he swings under it, and Twins are going to have to be careful not to chase that pitch too much today, or otherwise they're going to be in trouble with the amount of strikeouts this guy has and the ability he has of striking out people.
So you're talking arm side, that's right-handed pitcher to a right-handed batter, and then obviously left-handed pitcher to a left-handed batter. Well, that's arm side, right?
Arm side would be the side that he throws with, so right-handed pitcher. So yes.
3-1 to Mauer with Rosario on deck. That to left field, and Duvall will make a running catch. Pretty well hit ball. Duvall got a nice break on it, made the catch for out number 2. And that'll bring up Rosario.
I think the other thing I noticed watching him before and trying to figure out what he was going to do is he throws a lot of fastballs with 2 strikes. A lot of guys tend to go to their breaking ball, and he likes to elevate with 2 strikes, especially to right-handed hitters, so we'll have to watch for that today.
Rosario hitting third in the absence of Miguel Sano, being held out of the lineup again with a tight hamstring. The hope is that he'll be back in the lineup tomorrow evening. And even though it's a night game, it's supposed to be warm and actually humid tomorrow. Rosario pops it up short left field, and Duvall comes in, and Mahle has a quick 1-2-3 first inning. Twins won a ball game yesterday, ended a losing streak, and the winner, Jake Odorizzi, will be with us when we come back. He did. One of them scored. The Reds have a 1-0 lead. Dick Bramer, Justin Morneau joined by the Twins starting pitcher and winning pitcher yesterday, Jake Odorizzi. Jake, congratulations on the win. When you're out there trying to end a losing streak, do you think about that at all, or are you just out there trying to focus on pitching your game?
Just kind of focus on pitching the game. I kind of figured yesterday I'd have a little bit extra leeway with the bullpen being short. So I just wanted to go, as deep as I could and give us the best chance to win. So it was good to, put one in the left column to get us off that streak.
Do you feel like the weather early? I mean, I know guys don't want to make excuses, but it's obviously nicer to pitch in 60 degrees than it is in 30 degrees. But is there one pitch for you that really makes a difference when it's cold and when it's warm that you don't really have the same feel for?
I think fastball command's tough as it is, just because it's all fingertips. You want to feel the ball coming off the end and go where you want it to. So when you don't have that control of your fingers, it's tough to locate, especially against a good hitting team, which pretty much everyone is nowadays.
2-0 the count to Duvall, and the pitch hit down the line, foul by about 1.5 feet. Jake, it seems like there have been a couple times this year where you've had to kind of adjust to what you've had out there. Now, in yesterday's game, you threw a curveball, it got hit pretty hard for the home run. Then you didn't seem to want to throw that pitch very often after that.
Yeah, the way it's been going, it seems like lately, the Cleveland game, the Yankee game, it just seemed like I was hanging them more in the zone, and they weren't getting misses and they weren't getting takes. So. You throw one and it ends up in the seats, you just put it in the back pocket and move on for the day. So I figured, I'm not too stubborn to just keep throwing it just to prove that I can. I thought like my fastball and slider combination was pretty good yesterday, so I'll stick with that, and it ended up being the right decision.
But how much do you depend on the catcher, or do you try and read that yourself? You have obviously a feel for what you know is working that day, but do you kind of go in between innings and sit down with your catcher and go, hey, let's get rid of the curveball for most of the day until we really need it, or is that a joint decision, or is that something that you kind of just lean to on yourself?
We didn't even talk about it really. I think he kind of just knew from that point on. It was the one I'm trying to throw 0-0, get me over, end up how I want it, and got hit out. So we're like, all right, just shelf it. And I'm pretty good at reading people's swings and seeing what they're trying to do off of me, the approach, and when I can see they're trailing on the fastball, it makes me think, they're looking for something soft, so might as well keep it the hard stuff.
Now we're looking at some of the 6 innings that Jake Odorizzi pitched yesterday. 5 hits, the home run, couple of walks, 3 strikeouts. Does it make any difference at all that it was, a National League team? You don't have any history with these guys. You faced the Yankees many times before in your prior start. It was pitching at Yankee Stadium. But how do you approach a game against an opponent where you don't have much history?
I think it's kind of the benefit to the pitcher, just because you know what you can do, and you can have this guy in front of these guys. And I think Morty can kind of tell you, the more often you see a pitcher, the more comfortable that you are. So if I see him once every 3 years, I think the advantage is in my corner. But just like seeing the Yankees, I've seen them quite a bit. They've seen me, and I know how they like to approach me, and you have to be on your game, and I wasn't early on, and it really showed from the get-go. Plus, they're swinging the bats really well right now, so you just take what you can do and move on from it.
Yeah, that is a good point. The first time I faced a guy, especially if I had nobody on base, I was trying to get as much information as I could, because you can watch all the video you want, but until you stand in that batter's box and you see the ball come out of the guy's hand, see how you recognize what his fastball's doing, if it's got a little late tail, if it's got some cut to it, you hopefully get a chance to see his breaking ball, see his changeup or his split or whatever it is, and then if you come up the next time with runners in scoring position, you have a better idea and you can have a plan, and if you want to swing at the first pitch, you can, because you're aware of what all his pitches do. So yeah, there definitely is an advantage to the pitcher the first time you face him and face a lineup.
2-2 the count to Tucker Barnhart, and now a full count. Berríos doesn't seem to be as sharp as we have seen him this year. We'll talk a little bit about the guy on the mound, Jake. You have to be impressed with what you've seen from this guy who's still kind of getting his feet wet at this level.
Yeah, he's been really impressive early on. When we're all dealing with control issues, it seemed like nothing bothered him. He was sharp from outing 1 till pretty much his last one, and even his last start wasn't bad. That's kind of what I told him. Like, you threw one pitch that ended up being a home run late in your start. You can't be upset about one pitch in your entire outing. It's going to happen. Don't live and die by that. You still threw 76 other good pitches. So just one thing, younger guys tend to dwell on. You made a bad pitch at the end, gave up the home run, but there's a lot of good that came before that, and what he's been able to do is pretty special. I think he's going to be a good one for a long time here. So I'm excited to watch him, every start this year and see, how he makes adjustments, that sort of thing, and kind of give him advice if he ever needs it from me. And that's just what I'm here to do, help him out, and do whatever I can.
So it seems like you've embraced that role as being a guy that's been around a few years and trying to help those other guys. Are you working mostly just with your fellow starting pitchers, or do you go to the bullpen too and say anything if you see anything to those guys?
I kind of leave the bullpen guys to themselves. They're a different breed, and they just don't do the same things that we do. And pitching one inning is so different compared to pitching, trying to go 6-7 innings each time out. It's something I've never was good at. I was in the bullpen a couple times, and I just felt so foreign down there, like I didn't belong. So I let those guys do those things. They know what they need to do to prepare. But I was very thankful over my time in Tampa. I had a lot of good guys help me down there and help me progress with David Price and Cobb, Matt Moore, Smiley, Archer. Like I had a bunch of guys that really assisted me to get me to where I'm at. So I wanted to kind of give that back whenever I can.
Jake, we're going to ask you one more question. Now, you pitched yesterday, pitched very well, and your next start will be the first game of the road trip, I guess, in Chicago. And both the position players and the pitchers have all talked about wanting to get into some kind of a routine and a rhythm. So what is that now for a starting pitcher? You pitched yesterday. What did you do today? What will you do tomorrow and leading up to your next start?
Yeah, today just happened to be Kids Day, so I had my son out here. We were running around the field for about 2 hours, let him hit, run around. Then I just did my cardio after Mama came and picked him up. So the typical, my routine is I like to just run the day after. I'm usually a little bit sore. I don't play catch, so I try to save as many bullets as I can for the season. No catch, just run. Next day I'll throw my bullpen and do a total body workout. Some more running. Day 3 is just a normal kind of I wouldn't say long toss, but a deeper catch than I normally do. And then day 4, just a normal catch, some short sprint work, and be ready to go for the next day. So I've just tinkered it over the years to do what works for me and what I felt like my body responds to pretty well.
How many can they get? 1. Safe at first, only 1. But with that, we'll let Jake Odorizzi go, and we'll look forward to your next start. Thursday, I guess, in Chicago.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. Thanks for having me on,
Jake.
fellas. Have a good one.
Yep, you too. Well, Blandino beat out the relay just barely, 2 away. And a good call made by first base umpire Lance Barksdale. That'll get us back to the top of the order. And Jesse Winker hit the first pitch of the ball game to the left field corner, caught by Rosario.
I'd be pretty surprised if he swings at the first pitch again. He's a guy that really doesn't swing at the first pitch very often, so I wouldn't be surprised if he takes this pitch right here.
There's a first pitch strike. And with that, pitch number 32, 17 strikes, 15 balls. This is about as erratic a control as we've seen Berrios have, walking the number 8 batter Barnhart to put him aboard. Second walk already in the ballgame. 0-1. Up and away, and it's been the control of the fastball that seems to have eluded him so far.
And I think with most starting pitchers, especially the aces and the guys that are top of the rotation around the league, it's always you got to get them early. You got to get them before they settle in, and it looks like he hasn't quite settled in yet and got a feel for what he's doing with his fastball. But you assume at some point he's going to settle down in this game and start really attacking that strike zone.
There's a good breaking ball that hits the outside corner. We haven't seen many effective breaking balls. A few good changeups.
And sometimes the catcher will put that down to get you don't want to hang a breaking ball so it'll force that pitcher to get out on top of that ball, make sure it gets it down in the zone. Then sometimes you can help find your fastball by throwing that off-speed pitch.
Fouled away. He's got stuff. He's got some charisma. And you pitched behind a guy who had that too, and Johan Santana won a couple of Cy Young awards. And I don't think you have to use your imagination too much to imagine Berríos getting some Cy Young votes and maybe winning an award or two himself before his career is over with.
Well, for his sake and the Twins' sake, I sure hope so, because he's I don't like to try to put labels on that guy, but he's a guy with a very high ceiling. And Johan was a fortunate pickup in the Rule 5 draft, and somebody saw something in him, and obviously we picked him high in the regular draft, and hopefully he keeps getting better.
Blocked by Castro.
I think the thing that impressed me the most was the fact that when he pitched in Puerto Rico, there was so much hype around it. There was so much build up to it, and he seemed to handle that. He was able to control his emotions and control the game. And that was, other than obviously how he did, but how good he looked and how composed he looked was something that you really see as part of the maturation process that he's going through.
2-2 to Winker. Hit hard to the right field corner. Blandino rounding second. He'll go to third. Grossman's going to have to hurry to get the ball in. Dozier will fire it home, and the throw is not in time. An RBI double for Jesse Winker. And the walk, a couple of plate appearances ago, ends up costing Berríos a run. Twins had Winker play more to the gap by the time Grossman could retrieve the ball. It had hit the wall, and Blandino came around to score.
And it goes back to his fastball command that just isn't there for him yet. He was trying to go in with that, and he missed out over the plate. And Winker put a good swing on it. He's been swinging the bat well all year. He's been possibly their most consistent hitter, and he hasn't really slowed down in this series.
2-0 Cincinnati. Again, they really put on a hitting exhibition here on Friday, and credit Odorizzi for bottling their lineup up yesterday, and now they've come out with some really good at bats. And we've had what, 3 or 4 very well hit balls, and usually that's a whole game's worth for Berríos, and we're just in the second inning. 1 strike. And now 1-1.
You can see he just doesn't have a feel for really much yet. His misses usually aren't that far off. He's an 0-1 count, maybe an 0-2. You see that breaking ball down there, but 0-1, try and get a guy to chase. You throw that borderline one, and then you expand off of that once you get to 2 strikes.
And falling behind now, 2-1.
I think in the past this is a time where you normally would have seen him mound visit and go out there and see what he wants to throw, but they're just gonna have to figure it out with the good old-fashioned way of put down the signs and shake till he can throw something or find something he wants to throw.
That's hit to right. Grossman backpedaling a little bit. That'll be the end of the second inning, but another good one for the Reds. They got a walk and a double, and they've taken a 2-0 lead.
Here in the second inning, time for our Sanford Health injury report. We'll start with Miguel Sano, who played Friday, did not play yesterday with the hamstring, still lingering issues, does feel better, likely to start tomorrow, Paul Molitor said, and even today could come off the bench and pinch hit. Byron Buxton, still a process with that toe issue, hairline fractured, light running today, and he said they're going to take it day by day, see how much he can do, and hopefully when they leave town later this week for that road trip, have a better kind of time frame with how long Buxton will be up. But certainly, guys, 2 very key parts of the Twins lineup not there today.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Escobar lifting it foul. It's 1-1. You look around baseball, and there's so many injuries early in the season. It seems like players, in the time I've been doing this, show up in camp in so much better shape than they used to. The ball hit into the right field corner. It's down for a hit. I think it'll be another double for Escobar. A leadoff double here in the Twins' second inning. We say another double because that's Escobar's game. That's already his 11th double of the year.
That's a lot of doubles in April. He got himself a hanging slider right down the middle, didn't miss it. That's a great swing. He's fun to watch. It's really easy. He's an easy guy to cheer for. You see the energy, the enthusiasm he plays with, and his teammates are all up on the top step cheering for him too, because they know what he brings to this ball club, and now the Twins have a chance to answer back in this bottom of the second.
Max Kepler will bat. The league leader in doubles is Miguel Andujar of the Yankees with 12. And you can see 11 and a healthy lead over the guy in the batter's box with 7. 1-0. Inside 2-0.
They picked right up where they left off yesterday of pitching, trying to come in with runners in scoring position, trying to get up under those left-handers' hands and not let them get their arms extended. We'll see if the Twins are a little more aggressive on the inside part of the plate, but they've done a nice job of laying off those borderline pitches in that they can't really do a whole lot with.
On the outside corner, 2-1. Mahle's given up a lot of home runs this year, 7 of them in 28 innings. Now trying to pitch around a leadoff double in the second. High fly, center field. Shepler's got a good arm. We saw that the other night. No chance for Escobar to advance. 1 away. And that'll bring up Robbie Grossman.
He made a good pitch on him there. He just threw him a changeup down, and I'm sure Max isn't going to be very happy with that at bat with a runner in scoring position. Usually when you make an out there, you hope it's at least a productive out and you're able to move the runner up to third base. And early in the ball game, the infield would have been back and it would have been an easy ground ball to second. 2-1 ball game, but unfortunately it didn't work out that way, and Robbie's going to have to come up with a hit right here.
Strike over the inside corner. Grossman, one of several Twins hitters showing some signs of recovering from an early season slump. High, tight 1-1. Just about everything Grossman's hit the last few days has been right on the button.
For a guy who looks like he's starting to get comfortable, that's what you want to do, is make him feel uncomfortable. You never want to see a guy get a ball up around the head area, but it has its effects on a hitter. I wouldn't be surprised if they went soft away right here. He likes his changeup, especially with runners in scoring position.
Over the inside corner, and it's 1-2.
And it looked like that's what Robbie was thinking too. So we're on the same page. Unfortunately, we're both wrong.
Now with 2 strikes, you open up your mind a little bit, right? If you try to prepare yourself for anything,
you get into battle mode. You don't think expand, but you think you've got to cover. You got to cover the plate, and if it's a tough pitch, you'd see if you could find any way to foul it off. And it's runners in scoring position is essential to be able to put the ball in play, in my opinion.
1-2. Breaking ball got him. Foul tip perhaps, but Barnhart held on. 2 away, and it'll bring up Morrison. It's about the journey, not the destination. Unless the destination is $5.6 million. Download Beat the Streak today. Start your streak to compete to win $5.6 million. Download Beat the Streak in the App Store or on MLB.com/BTS. There's Logan Morrison. The Twins need a jolt here. They have been unable to budge Escobar after his leadoff double. Morrison, one of the other hitters, it looks like he's snapping out of it.
And it looks like he's been swinging the bat better since they moved him down in the lineup a little bit, but he's still coming up in big spots with runners in scoring position. They are still going to need him, and I think eventually you'll see him move back up. Once he starts hitting the ball the way he's capable of, he'll move higher up in that lineup. But right now, moved him down into the 7 hole and give him a little less pressure, and it's made a difference so far.
Inside 2-0. What I've noticed, and I like to listen to hitters come out of a slump, and we've heard a louder noise. We've seen Morrison pull the ball with authority, but also hit the ball to center with authority. Put the barrel on it. Was it yesterday or Friday night? And hit a deep fly to left field. And when sometimes you can tell just by the sound of the at-bats that they're getting ready to break out of a slump.
And I think his hard hit percentage is actually higher this year than it was last year. His batting average on balls in play is really low. I think it's 100 points below his career average. So the way he's been hitting the ball actually isn't showing in the numbers that he has. He's been making solid contact a lot of the time he's up there. He's just hitting in some bad luck.
3-0. See if he's green lighted. And that he took doesn't mean he wasn't green lighted. That pitch looked like it was a pitcher's pitch down and away. Took it for a strike. 3-1.
He looked like he set up way off the plate and kind of made a mistake a little bit, but didn't look like they wanted to give him anything to hit there. They figured he was probably green lighted. You don't want to give in that situation and give him a chance to tie the game. So we'll see what they go to here.
And there's ball 4. And Adrianza will hit with 2 men aboard. Adrianza getting the start at short with Escobar moving to third in the absence of Sano.
It's funny, in today's game, it was almost like he was just satisfied just to walk him there. Anytime a guy has power, you're not going to give in an offensive count, but it seems like the game's changed really a lot in that way. You'd rather walk guys and put guys on base in that situation than ever give in. And there was a time when you guys we'd be yelling at the pitcher in the dugout, challenge him, come on, what are you doing? But now it actually makes a lot of sense. I mean, Logan Morrison's got a better chance of hitting the ball into the ballpark than Adrianza does.
Back in the early days of my broadcasting career, we had a microphone by the Twins dugout, and we heard Gary Gaetti essentially say that to whoever was pitching. Come on, challenge me, throw me a fastball. And I thought to myself, why would I, if I were a pitcher, why would I throw Gary Gaetti a fastball in a hitter's count? My job isn't to challenge him. My job is to get him out.
Exactly.
0-2.
That was a mentality of a young hitter going, challenge me, challenge me. You're basically telling me you don't think you can hit the off-speed pitch. I can't hit the changeup. Why don't you throw me the fastball? Looked like he missed inside, but he did a nice job of framing it, and he got the call. That's such a big difference in could be a 1-1 count into an 0-2 count with runners in score position. That can really change your at-bat, and hopefully doesn't let it affect the rest of the at-bat.
0-2. And strike 3, another strikeout for Mahle. And he's got a 2-0 lead over Jose Barrios and the Twins. Twins have had some really good fielding first basemen in their history, starting with Vic Power in the early 60s. And Ken Herbeck came along in the early 80s. Batters Joey Votto leading off the third inning. Votto walked in 4 pitches his first time up, and now a base hit to left. And the leadoff man is on for the Reds. And Doug Minkiewicz won some gold gloves for the Twins at first base as well, and he was kind of a tutor for you when you were first called up about 15 years ago.
He was, and he was very helpful. It could have been a very awkward situation. I think everyone kind of knew being groomed as the guy that was going to come in, and he never looked at it as a guy who was taking his job. He looked at it like a professional, like he was, and he wanted to help me get better over there. And at this point in 2003, I'd only been playing first base for about 2 years, so there was still a lot to learn, but I was very thankful to have a guy like Doug around that could show me the proper way to do things and just teach me all the little nuances that you need to play first base on balls in the dirt, cutoffs, and so many different things, footwork around the bag. And he was really a help to me. And then obviously Tom Kelly was with me on the backfields in spring training every day. And
this one to the left field corner, and this is down for a hit. Votto around second, on his way to third. They will hold him up there, and Barrios has got instant trouble here in the third inning. Going back to his start at Yankee Stadium, Barrios has given up at least 1 run now in 6 straight innings. And now with nobody out, the Reds have runners at second and third.
Elevated fastball. It seems like his velocity's down a little bit today. We're not seeing as much of that 94, 95 that we've seen from him in the past. And it's almost like he's trying to find that command. He's kind of stepped off a little bit and sacrifice a little bit of the velocity to see if he can find the command that he normally has, and they're taking advantage of it, it looks like.
5 hits already for the Reds. Second and third, nobody out. And here is Eugenio Suarez. He drove in the first Reds run with a double. There's a breaking ball that gets a swing and a miss.
And it looks like Castro's taken note that they're wanting to swing early and they're wanting to attack early in the count. And you saw it even earlier in the previous innings that they're going to the off speed more on the first pitch, and they're recognizing the aggressiveness of these Cincinnati hitters, and they might want to go in a few times and back him off the plate and get him a little less comfortable too.
Hasn't struck anybody out yet. He's got 1 strike, and now a ball to Suarez. 46 pitches, 25 strikes. He's playing the infield back. Down a couple of runs early. And that rolls away from Castro, but no chance for Votto to score. 2-1.
I think he caught a break there. It looked like it hit the umpire and didn't. Otherwise, it probably would have been to the backstop.
See, another reason we should have a computerized or electronic score, a ball strike umpire behind the plate. Yeah, that hit
Ted Barrett.
Ted Barrett. So how do you feel about the electronic strike zone?
I wish we would have had it going back to that video since 2003. It would have been great.
Is that right?
There's a lot of pitchers that say hitters wouldn't want it.
Breaking ball wide, and it's 3-1.
And I completely disagree with that. I think if you knew what the strike zone was every time you went up to the plate, you wouldn't have to worry about a guy's getting this today. He's getting 2 or 3 inches off the plate today, or how good of a framer the catcher is. It doesn't apply. All it is if the guy can throw the ball over the plate or not.
And Barrios is having a terrible time doing that. They are loaded up now with nobody out. 49 pitches, just 25 strikes, and here's the first mound visit with the Reds threatening to break the game open.
And going back to that electronic strike zone, I think we have everything in place now. The whole goal is getting it right. We do it on the bases. Every time there's a play, we had a walk-off first game of the year in Detroit, had a walk-off win called back, and the call was changed because really the ultimate goal is make sure we get it right and make sure that if there's a mistake made that it's not affecting wins and losses and all the rest of it. But the biggest impact is the balls and strikes. We saw it in Adrian's at bat. If he's 1-1 instead of 0-2, it's a completely different at bat. You're still in the at bat. The pitcher loses command. Now he's got 4 pitches to try and mess around and get you to chase, as opposed to being 1-1. He's kind of backed in. You're in a neutral count, and the favor swings back towards the hitter. So to me, it's one of those things where if we talked about it earlier, if there's a runner on third and there's less than 2 outs and the guy gives the guy the first pitch 2 or 3 inches off the plate, you're not going to look at 3 pitches because you don't want to leave that guy stranded at third base.
A first pitch strike to Schebler with the bases loaded and nobody out. We were discussing that the telecast from New York, and Roy Smalley wondered about, well, then what are you going to do when you have a run scoring or a play at the plate? 1 strike to Schebler. On the ground, they'll go to second, relay to first. There is no relay, and the Twins get an out, but the Reds get a run. Votto coming in from third. The infield playing back. Mauer fielding that ground ball. Is that too long of a throw to make to try to cut the run home or run off at home?
Well, when you're playing behind the runner like that, usually you're saying with a left-handed hitter up there, you don't want to give up extra base hit, and all of a sudden it's a 3-run play. So he's playing behind the runner. He's playing pretty deep, and Barrios looked like he thought he was going to go home, and he didn't break right away. And I think there might have been a little miscommunication there. I'm not sure on the part of who, but Joe threw the ball to second. That pitcher's job right there is the only job is to get over and cover first base, and it looked like he was thinking that he might have to go back up home, but Joe was playing behind him, so there's no way he was throwing that ball home.
Missing inside. The force play at second allows for the possibility, at least, of getting an inning-ending double play. But where have the swings and misses been? He's had a couple of them, but he hasn't struck anybody out yet, and he's averaged more than a strikeout per inning pitched.
I think it's his command of his fastball hasn't set up the chases on the other pitches.
Now 2-0. Anyway, Roy Smalley was wondering about what do you do then if you don't have an umpire behind the plate calling balls and strikes. What about a run scoring? And my idea, which he didn't like, Well, you just have the home plate umpire back here by the screen on a segue. And then he just leans forward and rolls up to home plate. You don't like that idea either, do you?
No, but he could, just like the bases, you could move around. It's just another base, basically. I mean, you could move him around. I wouldn't have any problem with that. Might be weird for the catcher not catching without an umpire standing behind him. But
there's a swing and a miss, but that makes the count 2-1.
But yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. I think it would force the pitchers to throw the ball over the plate more too, because they wouldn't get those borderline good pitch, quote unquote, as they say. It's a good pitch. It might not have been a strike if the guy caught it well and he gets that pitch. Those wouldn't exist anymore, and they'd be forced to throw the ball over the plate. Offense might spike for a little bit, but I think the pitchers would adjust eventually.
2-1 to Duvall, and a ground ball behind the runner at third. 2-2. Well, this is where Berríos almost at will has been able to get a strikeout in the past, but swings and misses have been very rare. And with runners at first and third, 3 runs already in, 1 each in the last 3 innings. There's Matt McGill warming up at the Twins pen. This has not been a good start at all for Berríos. See if he can get a strikeout when he needs one here. Adrianza to second, relay to first. Safe at first. We'll see if the Twins challenge it. Another run is going to come in unless they successfully challenge the safe call at first. Take a look at it as they are doing now in the Twins video room. And he's on the bag, and the ball's still 2 feet from Mauer's glove. A 2-run third inning. It's 4-0. And again, Berríos trying to get a swing and a miss, and he keeps getting ground balls where the Twins are unable to turn to.
And you see it took him. It took Adrianza enough to his right where the throw on the first throw of the double play was too long, and it just took too much time, and he was hustling down the line, and the ball wasn't hit hard enough. Usually it's the ball dictates whether or not you're going to be able to turn a double play. All the middle infielders are good at this level, and they're able to turn that double play pretty quick, and the ball just wasn't hitting the right spot to turn that.
Change up outside, ball 1. Well, it was a difficult first inning for Berríos. 6 batters with the runner taking off, and a steal easily by Duvall, and now he's in scoring position.
And I think that's a case of Berríos focusing so much on where he's throwing the ball that he got an incredible jump, and Castro had no chance of throwing him out right there. I think sometimes as a pitcher you start focusing on the hitter and where you're throwing the ball and trying to find that command and that feel, and sometimes you lose track of that runner out there. And with a 4-run lead, he was willing to take a chance to get himself into scoring position with 2 outs.
Change up outside, 2-1. So the other guys have scored against Berríos in 7 straight innings. This will be pitch number 60. And so far of the 59, only 31 have been strikes. Dozier gets in front of it. Another ground ball out, but 2 more runs for the Reds, and they've jumped out to an early 4-0 lead. 9th inning, first of a doubleheader between the Giants and the Dodgers. Look at this curveball. Well, that wasn't the curveball. He threw a curveball. He looked in control of things. And the Giants trying to get something out of Sandoval toward the end of his career. And yesterday they got an inning's worth of relief work.
And I was teammates with his brother in the Gulf Coast League, Michael Sandoval.
Yes.
A couple years ago.
Here's Jason Castro taking ball 1. I remember that the brother is has got a restaurant of some sort, I believe, and was catering some food to the Twins clubhouse for a while.
I'll take your word for it.
Okay. 1-0. And there's a strike on the outside corner. Castro, Dozier, and Mauer. Twins trying to get something on the board here. Down 4-0 early, and the Twins have Taylor Rogers warming up in their bullpen. Fouled back by Castro, and it's 1-2.
They're going to need to get something going here before Mahle really settles in, because his last start was was a quality start, was effective, and you know, anytime a young guy gets some momentum going out there, a rookie starts feeling good, you don't want him to feel too comfortable out there.
Fastball burns the inside corner, and he gets another strikeout. And while Barrios has struggled to score pick up strikeouts, Mahle has struck out 4 of the first 9 batters. 1 down. That'll bring up Dozier.
You know, it's going to be interesting to see with Toronto coming in and how effective it's been. They've been pounding these left-handed hitters inside to see if there's always an advanced scout sitting in the stands, and they're always sitting there. They watch either 1 series or 2 series or 3 series before of. So Toronto would have a scout here, and they'd see that the way the Cincinnati pitchers are attacking the Minnesota hitters, and they'll relay that information to the Toronto team that's coming in, and they'll give them that. And it'll be interesting to see the next few games against Toronto if they pitch the same way, if they feel like it was effective of getting these Twins hitters out.
Twins will face 3 right-handed starters in the Toronto series. Aaron Sanchez, who's off to a good start. He's healthy this year. Marco Estrada and Marcus Stroman. Down and away, it's 2-1. What I'll be interested to see now, the second time through the order, whether the Twins, through familiarity, have some better at-bats against Mahle.
And see if they're able to pick up his release point. It is a little different than the guys they faced the last couple days.
Driven foul, 2-2. Dozier struck out on a high fastball his first time up, and the first time through the order, the Twins got 1 double by Escobar and a walk to Morrison.
You see if they stick with that pattern of the high fastball, the breaking ball in the dirt. They got him to chase earlier, so they might stick with the high fastball, but we'll see.
Got him. Just reached back for 94 miles per hour. And he has another strikeout. 5 of the first 10 batters have struck out.
You see it. Yeah, I feel like I'm going back to it a lot, but when they're getting outs and they're ahead in the count, they're really pitching inside effectively. They're not only coming in close to the strike zone, but they're also able to hit that inside corner. It's been effective the last couple of days for him.
Bauer takes outside ball 1, hit a liner to left his first time up. Danny Darwin was an awfully good pitcher in his day, principally with the Texas Rangers. Fouled away, and it's 1-1. Taylor Mahle's a year ago, he was pitching for Pensacola in the Eastern League, or Southern League, I beg your pardon. And he was promoted to AAA, got up to the big leagues late last year. One of the guys the Reds are trying to build around. He's had a really good outing so far, and now he gets ahead of Mauer, 1-2.
You saw most of those strikeouts were elevated up in the zone, get those chased like we talked about early in the game, and it doesn't appear as if they're picking the ball up very well off them, and they're getting those chases on those borderline pitches.
1-2 to Mauer. 2-2. Mahle, the last Cincinnati pitcher to pitch more than 5 innings. So far this year, he's actually done better the second time than the first time, but then watch out the third time through the order. The hope is that the Twins aren't so far behind. The ball hit to center, but hit almost right at Schebler. A couple of strikeouts and another 1-2-3 inning for Tyler Mahle. .com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. By Grand Casino, the best stories start here. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. I will put up with all the snow outs that we can endure to have days like this. It's gorgeous here at Target Field, but the score lopsided the other way, and in fact Jose Barrios has been taken out of the game, and Taylor Rogers coming in to give the Twins, they hope, some relief. And it was not a good road trip for Taylor. Had a tough time in St. Petersburg and in New York, and in fact here the other night against the Reds pitched just a third of an inning and gave up 3 hits. So a chance for Rogers to get some work in here, hopefully post a solid inning. And it was clear from the first inning that Berrios wasn't sharp, and then the hope was that he'd find something by the second or third inning. But if anything, the innings were getting worse rather than better.
And I think that's a change that you've seen. Normally you'd leave a guy out there and just say, hey, we need him to pitch deeper in the game, and now it's more, managers are recognizing a day when a guy doesn't really have his best stuff, and they're going to the bullpen a lot earlier than they used to, and knowing that there are pieces that they can place in. Saw David Hale for a couple innings the other night, and you're hoping Taylor Rogers is able to get through a couple innings right here and have some quick innings and not put the pressure on the boys up top to make a move and bring somebody up or make a roster move. That you don't expect that from Berrios, and hopefully the Twins find a way to get back in this ball game.
Just missing the outside corner, 2-2. Three innings for Berrios, 17 batters faced, and not one strikeout. 2-2 to the leadoff man here in the fourth. And a base hit slapped to right field. The leadoff batter Blandino reaches, and now back to the top of the order, and Jesse Winker. Fox Sports supports the Minnesota National Guard and Mall of America. Celebrate the month of the military child, and we're encouraging military families to submit a photo depicting what it's like for your child to be in a military family. For details and criteria for photo submission, visit foxsportsnorth.com/events. Here is Winker. Jumped on the first pitch from Berrios, hit a deep fly ball that was caught for an out. Then he delivered an RBI double in the second. Squaring and bunting up the line, foul. One strike.
I was just going to say, I'm not sure. I haven't seen him play a whole lot, but this would be a situation where I'd expect him to bunt right here. Bunt for a base hit that turns into a sacrifice. You get a tough left-handed pitcher out there, and you haven't seen him before, and you're wondering, you haven't seen him a whole lot. You're wondering, how can I get that guy to second base? And then you saw it there. He might do it again. Escobar was playing a little deep at third. That's that. If it works out to be a base hit, worst case scenario, you advance the runner, and best case scenario, you have first and second as a hitter.
Check of the runner at first, Blandino. And another check. Reds had never played at Target Field prior to this series, and they have found it to their liking. Just one run on the board yesterday and a solo home run, but they picked up 20 hits here Friday, 6 already this afternoon, and there's another one. A base hit to right for Winker. Rounding second is Blandino. He'll go to third, and Rogers continues to struggle. Runners at first and third, nobody out.
It looked like he got himself a hanging breaking ball right there. Stayed on it, didn't try and do too much with it. Put a good swing on it, and I really like the way he ran the bases. He had a good hard turn right there. If the throw goes anywhere other than the second base, he's gliding into second right there. That was a good all-around baseball play.
Peraza with a single and a fly ball. Twins playing the infield halfway in here, already down 4-0. And Votto on deck. Line foul, one strike.
When they're halfway like they are, if it's hit hard, you try and turn a double play, and if it's a slow roller, you don't think you're going to be able to get a double play. That's when you see they'll come in and throw it on the run, or they'll throw it home and try and get the runner at home. It's an odd position to play in as an infielder. You kind of get caught in between sometimes.
And the runner at third has the mandate of coming home on any ground ball, right? He's got to come home.
Yes. So you instead of trading, you trade an out to have runners on first and second, as opposed to staying at third, and all of a sudden you let them turn the double play, and you're still at third, nobody on base,
right?
And you're on third. There's two out. So
toward the hole and through 3 hits against Rogers here to start the 4th inning, and it's 5-0.
And that's the danger of playing the infield at that depth at that time with nobody out. Now we still have first and second, and you're really hoping to avoid a big inning. I think if Adrian's is playing back, you at least get one on that play. You get the runner at second base, but you really can't afford to give them a free run right there. They end up not working out, but that's usually the way you play it defensively.
Joey Votto with a walk and a single. His single led off the 3rd when the Reds scored 2 runs. They scored in every inning here this afternoon and lead 5-0. Votto takes outside, ball 1. It's just a matter of Rogers' location. Why is he giving up hits in bunches? He's been awfully good for the Twins the last couple of years. Tickles the outside corner. Rogers has given up now 16 hits in 10 innings.
I feel like he's been behind in the count a lot, and anytime you make a mistake, you don't get away with them when you're 1-0, you're 2-1, you're 2-0, whatever it is. You leave a ball in the middle of the plate. The hitters are aggressive in those counts, and they're not missing those pitches. If you're 0-1, 0-2, 1-2, whatever it is, that's when you get those guys to chase, and that's when you get them fouled off those pitches, the mistake pitches that you make.
And then Votto rarely chases. He took that breaking ball for ball 2.
If you watch Votto at the plate, it's amazing to see how well he uses his lower half. His lower half controls his whole body, his legs. He really gets into his legs. You see him on his back leg, using that to really help him balance. And the quieter you are with your lower half, the easier it is for your head to stay still. When your head stays still, then your eyes stay still, and it helps you recognize pitches. You never really see him and Mahle both do it very well. You never see him jump out there. You never see him land hard on their front foot, and his starts from his base, and how well he uses his legs to put himself in a position to hit.
And Rogers strikes out Votto, 1 away. And that'll bring up another left-handed batter, Scooter Gennett.
He missed with the first one, and then he was able to get ahead. And I think the only place you really, when you see a guy get into their legs like that in their lower half, it makes them vulnerable up in the zone and up under their hands. And he had everything covered except for the pitch that he threw him, and he executed his pitch that time and got him out.
There's a slow breaking ball over for a strike. The Twins have actually had a number of ground balls hit right at people in double play situations, but they've been slowly hit ground balls, or just to the right a little bit, just to the left a little bit. The Twins have had a whole bunch of force plays at second, but they haven't been able to convert a double play yet. 0-2.
And that first pitch breaking ball is what set up that swing on that breaking ball right there. He was able to get ahead, and then all of a sudden you get a bad swing on an 0-1 pitch. That's really the key for him. If he wants to be successful, he's going to have to be able to get the secondary pitches over, that breaking ball over, and then you get the guy to swing at the borderline one, and you get yourself in an 0-2 count. Now you've got him wherever you want. You can elevate the fastball. You could bounce a breaking ball. You have a few pitches to try and get him to chase, or you can just attack him and throw him a fastball into his hands because he's worried about that breaking ball. Your options are kind of limitless right here.
Ooh, missed the corner, down and away, not by much. 1-2. Take a look at it on replay. From up here, it looked like a strike.
It looked like it might have nicked the corner, but you trust the box. So if it hits any part of the box, you consider it a strike.
That's right. Yep. Any part of the box. And protecting the plate on the breaking ball, Gennett lifts it foul. Two men out there, one's already scored. And the Reds have built a 5-0 lead, out hitting the Twins 8-1. Very high 2-2.
In long innings like they've been on defense, it seems like 3/4 of the game. Anytime you're doing that, it really hurts your offense. You don't really have any momentum. The guys don't get to go in and sit down. You don't get to take that break, study the pitcher, see what he's doing. You spend so much time on your feet, and you barely catch your breath, and it seems like you're running back out there again.
I've always thought it would be easy to do, though I guess we could do it easily enough, like they do in football. Keep track of time of possession, only time in the field versus time the other team is in the field.
And on a day like today where it's 70 degrees and perfect, it doesn't make that big of a difference. But those mid-July or August days when it's 95 and humid, and
right,
that's when it really wears on you, and you finally catch your breath, and all of a sudden you're running back out there. Today's not as bad, but
now 3-2 to Jeanette. This is very likely one way or the other, get him or not, going to be the last man Rogers faces. Reds on the edge of breaking the game wide open. McGill is warmed up and appears ready to come in to face Suarez.
Be interesting to see what he throws him here. A lot of times when a guy shows you 0-0 is when he throws you 3-2. He threw a first pitch breaking ball. He took it. He threw him a next pitch breaking ball. He got him to chase. I wouldn't be surprised if he went back to it right here. See how much confidence he has in it right now.
Fastball chopped towards short. 1, and that's all they'll get. Another force play at second on a slowly hit ground ball. First and third, 2 down, and we'll see if they make the move. Here comes Paul Molitor. With Rogers giving up at least 1 run on 3 hits in 2/3 of an inning.
It looked like Adrianza might have rushed it a little bit. You're trying to create something and didn't get a good handle on it, or didn't give him a good feed, and Dozier maybe not with a speedy runner would have been able to turn it, but that's the one, you do your job, you get the ground ball, you hope you're able to turn it, but unfortunately they weren't.
Matt McGill will make his Twins debut when we come back. 25 or more qualify for special ticket discounts and can reserve traditional stadium seats without a deposit. Organize your group outing at Target Field today. Visit twinsbaseball.com/groups or call 800-33-TWINS to schedule your Target Field group outing. Twins were hoping for another long outing like the one they got yesterday from Jake Odorizzi, and here we are in the 4th inning, and the Twins are already on their 3rd pitcher. Matt McGill will make his Twins debut. And a first pitch strike.
And that's what you like to see, a guy coming out of the pen and attacking the strike zone, working ahead.
Gill used to pitch for the Reds a couple years ago, showed up here the other night for the homestand opener. And trying to eat up some innings. He kind of a late inning specialist for the Rochester team. Made 6 starts for the Dodgers back in 2013. Breaking ball missing inside. Jose Barrios didn't have it today. Got through 3 innings but gave up 4 runs. Didn't strike out anybody.
And I think we have to remember he's still young. He's like any other young pitcher. There's going to be some inconsistencies there, and just because he has the stuff to dominate every day doesn't mean he's ready to dominate every day yet, but he definitely has that potential, and unfortunately we didn't see it today, but it's always in there. We saw it in Baltimore in the shutout, and it's possible every time he goes out there that he can throw a shutout, but that doesn't mean he's going to. And we have to remember that he's still a young pitcher, and he's still learning, and he's still trying to get better every day, and it's hard to be patient with guys that you see are that talented. But we have to remember to do that.
Snap bat, and that drops for a hit. It'll produce another run. So an RBI single scoring Winker, and it's 6-0 Cincinnati. Most of the bat ended up at the feet of Eduardo Escobar.
We always say that's good clean living. That's what gets you those hits like that. but it looked like a breaking ball might have backed up on him a little bit. Those are hard as hitters. You anticipate the ball going to a certain spot and it doesn't go where you expect it to, and sometimes you're lucky and you get a hit like that.
That's a good way to describe a breaking ball that kind of backs up. He's trying to get the barrel on the ball because he's anticipating it breaking maybe a foot, and it only breaks about 8 inches, and that's the result, a shattered bat.
And your eyes tell you one thing, and the ball does something different, basically, is what happens. And you saw it. I think it was on one of the strikeouts earlier in the game from Mahle to one of our left-hand hitters. I can't recall right now, but anyways, it was a backup breaking ball that ended up not doing a whole lot and ends up striking out on it. There's guys always say, I always wanted to learn how to throw a backup breaking ball because it's so hard to hit. Guys complain about it all the time, but it's impossible. It's a mistake is what it is. The guy ends up, losing the touch for it or whatever, and it doesn't spin the way it's supposed to, and fools the hitter almost every time.
1-1 the count to Schebler, and now 2-1. McGill picked up a couple of saves for Rochester. Signed as a minor league free agent in January of this year. Made a good impression in spring training. This is his 11th year of professional baseball. Most of that spent in the Dodger organization, most recently with the Reds, and now the Twins organization. Chop to the right side. Dozier has a ball go under his glove. Jeanette around third. He'll score. And the Reds have opened up a 7-0 lead.
And Dozier's not going to be happy with that one. It's he had the angle on it. He was going back on it the way you need to on that ball, but with runners on base, you got to make sure that doesn't get through the infield. And unfortunately, it just went under his glove. He had the angle. He was getting ready to spin. He was going to turn on that throw. Because of the way the ball was taking him, he would have had to spin his whole body around, and that's why you saw the position that he had it. He wasn't in front of the ball because he was setting his feet up to be able to throw the ball to first base.
Base hit is given Schebler, so he'll get credit for a run batted in. 10 hits for the Reds. Strike 1 to Duvall. 3 runs in the 4th. All 3 runs charged to Taylor Rogers, and now the 2 runners who are out there are the responsibility of McGill, who's faced 2 men and given up 2 hits. Fouled back, and it's 0-2.
And for a Reds team that came in with the record they did and struggling as bad as they were, they've looked really good, at least swinging the bats. They've been on everything. They've been aggressive. They've taken advantage. They've got their hits the other way. They've got their singles the other way. They've driven the ball in the gaps. I mean, you have to remember, anytime you're playing a big league baseball team, they're in the big leagues because they're the best in their organization. So you have to respect that. Just because their record wasn't the greatest coming in doesn't mean they're not capable of winning ball games.
And there's a called 3rd strike. Second strikeout of the inning. But in the inning, the Reds got 5 singles and scored 3 more runs. Twins have dug themselves a big hole early against a good young pitcher, Tyler Mahle, trailing 7-0. Eddie Rosario on the first pitch, driving it to left. Duvall is over to make the catch. 1 pitch, 1 out. And that'll bring up Escobar. Escobar cracked a double into the right field corner his first time up. That is the only Twins hit so far this afternoon. I mentioned Mahle's given up a lot of home runs. 7 in 27 innings coming into play.
And with that being said, the Twins need to find a way to just get a couple of base runners, whether it's a couple of walks, whatever it is, and then hope that a 3-run homer can get you back in this game in a hurry. And 7-3 looks a lot more a game like you can come back in than a 7-0 game, that's for sure. And he's been in control. He's been able to locate his fastball, but.
And Escobar keeps on hitting. A double to right, now a single to center. Let's see if the Twins can get something on the board here to get off the floor.
That was a nice piece of hit right there. Change up down, out of the zone. I mean, he'll look at that pitch, he'll go back and go, you know what, I made a good pitch, and he just ended up getting a hit on it. And sometimes good hitters get hits. You can make your pitches, everything can go right, but sometimes you just give credit to the hitter, which I like to do a lot. But but that really was a good pitch, and he just took what he gave him and single up the middle and hopefully get something going. Kepler
takes up. It always used to burn Harmon Killebrew when I worked with him. Someone would hit a home run, and the analysis coming from the booth would say, well, the pitcher made a mistake, because Harmon felt, give the hitter some credit. Sometimes a pitcher can make a good pitch, but the hitter was better on that particular pitch. Now a ground ball to Blandino, and the Reds get an inning-ending double play. And as we head to the fifth, it's 7-0 Cincinnati. Coors Timeless Moment takes us back to August 9th, 2006. It came in at 99, and it was upstairs. How do you catch up with that? Justin Morneau did. A Joel Zumaya fastball, a 2-run shot that would be enough to beat the Tigers after the 8th inning home run 4-3, and it ignited a hot streak and saw the Twins overcome a big deficit in the American League Central to catch the Tigers on the last day of the season. We talked about that, I think, the other day, how when we were in New York, Phil Nevin was kind of a spare part on that team. He was brought in. He still remembers that celebration on the field as you guys returned to the field after playing your last game and watching the Kansas City Royals win, and that, instead of sending you to New York for the wild card game, allowed you to win the division and host the A's instead.
And then it all went downhill from there.
Yeah, be careful what you wish for, right?
Yeah, we thought, no, finally not playing the Yankees in the playoffs. Here we go. This is our chance. And then we got swept, and got swept handily. It was that was a special team. That was so much fun that year. It was shocking the way it ended to us.
And that was a wild card series, or would have been, with the Yankees. The one-game wild card game didn't exist back then. Just a tremendous year for the Twins. As we've said before, Johan Santana won his second Cy Young Award, and for a good part of the year he was the second best. The bullet caught by Mauer for the first out. For a good part of the 2006 season, Johan Santana wasn't even the best left-hander on his team.
And that's hard to say for a guy who won the Cy Young. And when Lariano came up, it was unbelievable. I remember this like it was yesterday. We had so much fun. I mean, anytime you can share a moment with like that with 35 or 40,000 people, it's special. I still get a lot of flack for that shirt I had on too.
Fly to right, Grossman with room to make the catch. Nice catch by Grossman, 2 away here in the 5th. How did you turn on a 99-mile-per-hour fastball that was letter high?
Close your eyes and swing hard. It was. I mean, you knew he was throwing hard, so you were amped up for it. I said it the other day. I'm just thankful he didn't throw me a breaking ball, because his breaking ball was nasty. Him and Verlander had two of the best power curveballs that year, and I mean, it was the break that he got on it for how hard he threw it was amazing. And he threw me a fastball, and it was the pitch I was looking for, and I was locked in at the time. I was in the middle of probably my best stretch in the big leagues, and maybe my best stretch that I ever had in the big leagues was those 3 or 4 months to finish that season. And sometimes it all just comes together. And the best part about that home run, well, I don't know about the best part, but the lady who caught it missed it, and the ball hit her in the face, and she came down, and I think she might have had a couple drinks in her, and told us that she wanted $10,000 in season tickets. So we ended up signing a ball, and we ended up getting the ball back. So the negotiations went downhill in a hurry. Yeah, it was in Detroit, and I think she didn't understand that in situations like that, it wasn't anything special other than there was the 30th home run and 100th RBI in my career for the first time, and it hadn't been done in the organization in a while. But I think she thought it was some valuable baseball, and it was only valuable really to me. I mean, you couldn't really sell that ball for anything, but I think she came back to her senses once the feeling came back to her. So there's always a story that goes along behind, and it kind of sometimes makes you laugh and sometimes makes you shake your head, and that was one of those ones.
Adrianza makes the catch, and a 1-2-3 inning for McGill.
Whether this team has endured, and the last time they were here a couple weeks ago, you guys talked about it, nearly 2 feet of snow here in the Twin Cities, and even cold in New York. He said any hitter that tells you they don't like hitting more when it's warm out, they're lying to you. This is a guy that grew up in California, and then moved to Texas, and said, we love when it's warm. The routine is there. Get out in the field, you can hit the ball. Batting practice is different. The routine is different. He said, we love hitting when it's warm. He looked at the forecast this week and said, finally, no more snow, no more cold weather, and they pay attention to it, guys. And I think, Justin, you can relate to it too. When you get that ball in your hands, it's a different feeling in cold weather than it is on a day like today.
Oh, for sure. You're shaking them off for an inning and a half, and you're blowing on your hands, and you're trying to get that feeling back, and you try not to make an excuse, and you try not to, deal with it. I used to just tell myself, you know what, it's cold for the pitcher too, and he's not going to have the same feel.
Lazy fly to center. Schebler has it measured. Grossman retired. Unfortunately, the other guys like to hit when it's warmer too, and that's what has happened here in this series and really through the 8-game losing streak. Odorizzi holding the Reds to just 1 run yesterday. In the 8-game losing streak, the Twins gave up 74 runs, and now 7 more again here today. Here's Morrison.
That's not a formula that's going to work out very well throughout the course of a season, but you're going to go through stretches like that, and maybe they're getting their worst stretch of the year out of the way early, and guys will start to hopefully settle in and do what they are capable of doing, because this is a good baseball team. This was a playoff team last year that made additions to help them get better and hopefully win more ball games than they won last year. It just hasn't worked out that way so far.
Only the Kansas City Royals in the American League have a higher team ERA than the Twins now in the American League. Inside the Morrison 1-1, and the ERA is going up today instead of down.
And like you said yesterday, it's good that it's outside of the division. These games aren't costing us 2 in the standings. It's if you lose, you never want to lose, but you're not going to win every game, and good baseball teams are still going to lose close to 70 games, and when it's within your own division, it hurts a lot more when you're chasing Cleveland and you can cut the lead from 6 games to 5 games. Instead, you lose to them, it turns 7 games. So that's where that 2-game swing comes from. And it's interleague, and it was New York, and it was Tampa, and whatever it was. So maybe some familiarity in the own division after we get past Toronto will get this team where it needs to be.
From short right field, Morrison is thrown out, 2 down. Partial season ticket packages are now available in the Delta Sky 360 Club and Catch. Become a Twins season ticket holder today. Become part of the Sweet Spot program. You can learn more at twinsbaseball.com or by calling 800-33-TWINS. Indians are pitching, but they're not hitting. And they're losing to the Mariners again today, 9-4. And as poorly as the Twins have played the last 2 weeks, they started the day just 3.5 games behind Cleveland. And it looks as if both teams might lose here today.
Yeah, we still got a lot of game left. I like to look at it optimistically. Anything can happen, and this team scored 7 or 8 runs before and is capable of doing that still.
The first week of the season was so encouraging, and the weather certainly subdued the hitting a little bit, but the Twins were pitching well. Odorizzi was pitching well. Barrios pitched well in Baltimore. 2-0. And Adrianza fouls it back 2-1. Adrianza went down swinging his first time up.
I think that Cleveland team with Carlos Santana, to me, was almost the stabilizing force in that lineup. His at-bats are very similar to Joe Mauer's at-bats, where he would go up there and see a lot of pitches.
Wow. Right on the outside corner, 2-2.
And it sets up the rest of the lineup. If Joe would go up there, and I loved hitting behind Joe because he would see 5 or 6 pitches every at bat, and if I wanted to go up there and swing at the first pitch, I could, because that guy had already put in work to try and get him out. And it's the same thing Carlos Santana did in that lineup for Cleveland. He let everyone else be free, and he was just being himself. That's how he is as a hitter. He sees a lot of pitches. He doesn't go outside of the strike zone a lot, and then if you make a mistake in the zone, he'll punish you. 20+ homers a lot of years, and I think that's possibly what they're missing in that lineup right now. And I said it before the season started to anybody that would listen. They are really going to miss him more than they thought they were, and you know, Alonso's done a nice job. He's filled in. He's got quite a few home runs. He's right up there with the league leaders. But at the same time, it's just not that stabilizing force that they've had for so many years in that lineup. It almost transferred from Victor Martinez to Carlos Santana, you know, seamlessly. And they had that switch hitter in the lineup that would force the pitcher to work, and it allowed everyone. It made everyone else around them better.
2-2 to Adrianza. Guy I thought the Indians might miss more than anybody else, and it doesn't appear that they're missing him that much, is their pitching coach, Mickey Callaway, who became the Mets manager, and he did such a great job with so many of the arms. But the Indians are, for the most part, pitching awfully well. And Adrianza chases. And again in the 5th inning, Mahle faces just 3 batters. He's had 4 innings like that out of 5 already. A photo and message for the opportunity to be featured in the Minnesota Lottery Winner's Circle during our broadcast and receive $100 in scratch tickets. With the Minnesota Lottery, every day is game day. Hasn't been much of a game today. The Reds in front 7-0, and we go to the 6th inning.
So instead of the circle we burn, we have the maple leaf motto. It might take a little longer to draw maple leaf on the screen there.
I bet you can draw a better maple leaf than Burt could a circle.
There you go. You are hereby maple leafed. Maple leafed? Maple leafed.
1-1 to Jose Peraza, who has 2 singles, an RBI, and a run scored already. Peraza, Votto, and Jeanette, with Matt McGill having an impressive first outing for the Twins. Chop to the right side, and that'll bleed through. The 11th Reds hit, the 3rd for Peraza. What, a couple of doubles, and the rest have all been singles.
But they've done a great job of taking what they're giving him. That's a tough pitch right there, and he just went and hit it through the hole. And sometimes those make it through the hole, and you hit him in the right spot, and you get rewarded when you do the right thing. He tries to pull that ball. He's up there thinking, I got to pull a homer because we got a big lead. That's a ground ball to short, but he takes what he gives him and gets rewarded.
Here's Votto, a walk, a single, and a strikeout. When you fire your manager in April, what you're hoping for, you're in essence, in most cases, saying it's a lost season, and what you're hoping is that the team will play better baseball as the season wears along. And at least so far, well, in this series, the Reds look like they're making some progress. They've got the anchor in Votto in the lineup. It's been a distressing week and a half for the Twins because they're on the verge of losing their 9th game in 10, and 5 of those losses will have been against teams that aren't supposed to be very good, like the Rays and the Reds.
The Rays have been hot.
Haven't lost since.
Got them hot, but like I said earlier, it still is the major leagues, and it still is good baseball players, and really anybody can beat anybody on a given day. But throughout the course of a 162 game season, the talent really plays out, and the talented teams usually end up winning the amount of games close to what they're supposed to, and we just need to keep our faith and believe that this team still is a good baseball team and will be. They just can't dig themselves too deep of a hole to climb out of, because then it's an uphill battle the whole way, and you're grinding through every game, and you really can't afford to lose series at that point, and when you get too far behind.
As we said the other day, the team to chase in the American League Central, whether you're the fan of the Twins or the Royals or the White Sox or the Tigers, the team to beat is Cleveland, and the Twins won't face the Indians until May 31st. And you hope that whatever issues that have arisen here in the opening weeks of the season, they get resolved, and you're within range, and you've still got 19 games left with Cleveland over the last essentially 4 months of the season.
With a healthy Irvin Santana in there in the rotation also.
And a healthy Byron Buxton and all that. And you know, obviously Irvin Santana last year was the team's best pitcher, and he hasn't thrown a pitch yet.
And I think Miguel Sano hasn't started to hit yet. Maybe these couple days off for his hamstring will give him a little reset at the plate and get his hands going and get him fresh again. And because he has the capability, as much as Dozier and as much as anyone with power really has the potential to carry a lineup for a few days or a week or whatever it is. And he's a guy that really has that one swing that can turn a game around with a 3-run homer every time he's up there. And you really need him. Logan Morrison hasn't really done what he's done in the past. He's showing signs that he's doing that. Even his last out was hit right into the shift, but he still hit that ball pretty hard. There's the pieces there, and it hasn't all come together yet, but there's still a lot of time left for them to do that. And I'm confident that they will obviously play better than they have, but that it's in there. This is still, in my opinion, a playoff team.
And Votto draws his second walk. And the first 2 men have reached now here in the 6th inning. And Scooter Gennett will bat. Irvin Alston in his first year as pitching coach for the Twins.
And going back to the Mickey Callaway,
yeah,
most of the guys on that staff are still the same guys. So the lessons he taught them and the way he helped them, I think where you'll see the difference if the pitching coach
fouled away 1 strike.
If the pitching coach really was making that much of a difference, which he was, that's a great staff there. But if he was, you will see it when the younger guys that he hasn't really had the chance to work with come up over the next few years, and you'll see if they develop the same way that they've developed the last couple of years. So whether or not the philosophies are still there from what he taught them, it appears they are. They're still pitching well, and obviously those guys are talented. You got Cy Young winner and everything else, but
fouled away 2 strikes.
It'll be interesting to see how they develop, 3-4 years from now when they bring in those new guys that inevitably have to come up and help your ball club, whether the impact is any different or it's an organizational philosophy and they're taking advantage of the data they're given, the information they're given. If it's front office of telling them, hey, never throw a pitch to this guy in this location, or this is your best pitch, you need to throw it more, or if that was actually, if Mickey Callaway was the middleman and he was able to communicate that stuff and get the best out of all those guys, which I'm assuming he was. He's done a great job managing in New York so far.
2 strikes to Gennett, and there is strike 3. Now McGill doing a nice job here. Twins with the second short start of this series, and he got the Twins off the field in the 4th, had a 1-2-3-5. Now a strikeout with runners at first and second, and Suarez will bat. If the Indians lose today and they're trailing 9-4 bottom of the 8th, they will be 14-12, and if the Twins don't come back here, it's still a 3.5 game margin. But what you want is you want to pitch better. You have to pitch better than the Twins have pitched. The hitting, I don't think anybody's too concerned about the lineup, and it is disconcerting when you have an 8-game stretch where you give up nearly 10 runs per game. That needs to improve. Chop towards short, and they will get another force play at second. First and third now, 2 down.
And sometimes it seems when stuff's not going your way, it's just not going your way. I mean, you're getting the ground balls that you need for the double that you're looking for. They're just not hitting the spot where you can actually turn a double play on them. It's been amazing. And then every time that's happened, it seems like the Reds have been able to take advantage of it. They've been taking their base hits the other way. They've been taking their walks. They've been kind of doing what you want to do as an offense. And then even those opportunities the Twins have had, they haven't been able to turn those double plays, not because they're not turning them properly, they're not in position, they're just balls aren't hit hard enough to actually turn a double play.
Just looking at my scorecard, that's a 6th fielder's choice where a batter's reached in the ball game, which is a lot when you're just in the 6th inning. 1 strike to Schebler. Big fly ball short center field. Coming in is Kepler. Still coming in. And he's got it. And a good outing for Matt McGill in his Twins debut. He's put a couple of zeros up here in the middle innings. The #1 selling brand in the Twin Cities. Pepsi fans of the game enjoying the bright sunshine, warm temperatures, not enjoying the score, to say the least. It's 7-0 Reds. See if the Twins can get things turned around here. First half of the game went to the Reds. We'll see if Castro can start something in the 6th. In a nutshell, Tyler Mahle has pitched today the way we thought Jose Barrios was going to pitch. 5 innings pitched, and in 4 of them he's faced just 3 batters.
And he's another one of those young pitchers for the Reds that has the potential and has great stuff, and they're hoping to build for the future around these guys. And he's kind of given us a little taste of what he's capable of doing. He's commanded his fastball. He's pitched inside effectively. He's got that. He's used the upper part of the strike zone to get some swings and misses, and he's worked ahead all day.
Check swing, no. It's 1-2 to Castro, who was called out on strikes his first time up.
I hit on this the other day. It seems like when you're struggling, you're 0-1, 0-2 every time you're up there, and I'm sure Castro's not too happy about this.
Breaking ball low. Reds plagued with short starts over the last week as well. They're getting a great effort from Mahle here today. Just 67 pitches thrown. Driven to right. And out of the reach of Winker. Castro digs for second, and the Twins have their second leadoff double. Good to see Jason make contact with 2 strikes. And the Twins get a leadoff double here in the 6th.
It looked like he was trying to go away, and he missed out over the plate. And Castro put a good swing out and hit that ball hard. Hopefully that'll give him something to feel good about and get him rolling.
Here's Brian Dozier. Gone down swinging twice. Third hit for the Twins. Second time they've had a leadoff double. Escobar got a leadoff double in the 2nd, but the Twins never budged him. Strike on the outside corner.
And here's that 3rd time through the order like you were talking about. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Reds get as well as he's thrown and as low as his pitch count is. The way today's game works, if they don't get somebody up in that bullpen pretty quick, if it looks like this 3rd time through is going to go the way it's gone so far in his career.
I know what you're saying, and you're probably right, but I don't like that. There's no reason. This guy's cruising, right? He's got a 7-run lead, and there's no reason to get the bullpen fired up.
I agree with you. I do. I don't like it when that happens, because this is a game where you have a chance to save your bullpen, who's been overworked, obviously. And even if he gives up 4 runs, you still have a lead, and you still have your setup guy and your closer and everyone ready and available. So you try and get as much length out of him as you can. It doesn't matter if he gives up a couple of hits right here.
Swing and a miss. It's 2-2. You saw the numbers. Teams hitting nearly 500 against Mahle the 3rd time through the order.
But just because that's the way it's been doesn't mean that's the way it's going to be today. He's been in complete control. He's commanded everything. He's thrown the ball where he wanted to. I'm not on that school of thought. I think it's easier after the game if something goes wrong to manage by the numbers.
Pop up. And that might stay in play. And Votto overran it. Don't see that very often. Votto can handle things awfully well at first base, but he went to the warning track, looked up, and the ball tailed back behind him.
That's really, there's only place that there's a lot of foul ground in this ballpark, and you can see the flags, and that ball just held up. and just push back towards the field. That's a tough play as a first baseman running back, looking over your shoulder, and not being comfortable here, not knowing how far you are from the wall. The warning track's pretty big here, and all of a sudden you get over there and you're trying to see if you're going to get your knees taken out by the wall, and then you look up and the ball's 10 feet behind you. It's a pretty helpless feeling as a player.
A reprieve for Dozier. And he just reared back and pumped 95 by him. Bryant has struck out swinging 3 times. That'll bring up Mahle.
He just reared back and just a little bit off the plate, but it was too close for him to take. And unfortunately for Bryant, he doesn't look as comfortable at the plate as he did in that early part of the year when he had those 4 home runs in 3 days. And you know he's going to come around, he's going to start hitting again, and it all starts at the top. When your leadoff hitter's driving the ball like he's capable of, it kind of sets the tone. And
this guy's been good, though. I mean, Mahle has seemingly thrown the ball exactly where he wanted to. He's hitting the periphery of the strike zone, just off the plate. He hasn't thrown much of anything down the middle.
And he doesn't look like he's a max effort guy. He looks like he's in command. He's in control of his body. Looks like he's in control.
That's sliced down the line and foul by 1.5 feet. Joe lined out to the left fielder Duvall in the first, hit a fly ball to center in the third, and nearly sliced one down the line for an RBI extra base hit.
It's a good thing we're not playing Kansas City, because I feel like that's where Alex Gordon usually plays, Joe. Like anytime Joe looks up there and sees Alex Gordon out there, it's giving him nightmares, because it seems like every time he hits a ball to left, Alex Gordon's standing in the right spot.
0-2 to Mahle. Up the middle, through for a hit. Castro around third, he'll score, and the Twins are on the board.
Third time through the order, they're getting another look at him, and we're probably going to see some action in that bullpen, even though both of us don't agree with it. And there's a mistake. Like we talked about, he hadn't made many mistakes today. He seemed like he's hit his location, but the pitch to Castro was left out over the big part of the plate. And that pitch right there, Joe does what he does, base hit up the middle, just like his 2000th hit, and drives in a run. And he's been one of the best since he's come in the league with runners in scoring position, with his consistency and the way he's been able to control those at-bats.
Inside to Rosario, and looking out at the Reds bullpen, they're like a bunch of cats that just woke up from a nap. They're just stretching, kind of getting loose out there, and now somebody is on the mound starting to warm up.
They got a lefty up, looks like getting ready for probably when Kepler comes up.
1-0 to Rosario, out in front, strike. It's 1-1. Amir Garrett, one of the 2 lefties down in that bullpen. Tyler Duffy in the background warming up in the Twins pen. Looks like he'll pick up the ball game in the 7th. That's flipped to left, and Duvall in his tracks with the catch, 2 down. Third time that Rosario's hit the ball to Duvall. 2 down, and now Escobar, who has 2 of the 4 Twins hits.
And this is an example of what we were hoping for, and what we saw from Jake Odorizzi yesterday, of what happens when your starting pitcher pitches into the 6th inning or the 7th inning. You're able to set up those matchups, and they're able to get Garrett up, the lefty up, probably for Max Kepler if Escobar reaches right here. And
popped up. Wind pushing the ball near the Cincinnati dugout and off the roof. And I think, to be fair to Votto, the wind coming in from the right field pole and blowing across had to have had some effect on the pop-up that Votto didn't catch in the Dozier at bat.
It does, and I'm up here making excuses for guys, but you know, it's the familiarity or lack of familiarity with the ballpark and the wind was probably a combination of it. He didn't really know where he was on the field, and then all of a sudden the ball was 10 feet from where he thought it was going to be. So he's a good fielder. He's won a Gold Glove over there. He knows what he's doing.
Popped up. This one will stay in play. And Duvall comes in and makes the catch. The Twins get their first run after the leadoff double by Castro, and it's 7-1.
Peraza took advantage of a hanging breaking ball. Got the lead early. Hits a double in the corner. Then Waker comes up. He's been swinging the bat well all year. He hits a double on another mistake, and Berrios didn't quite have his best stuff today, or at least his best command today. And Tyler Mahle was fantastic. He pitched to his strengths. Worked up in the zone, worked inside the zone, had command of his fastball, was able to get some pitches on some chases on some pitches outside of the strike zone, and really in command. And what the Twins were looking for, the Reds have been able to do today, unfortunately.
Yeah. We'll see. The Twins at least on the board here as we go to the last 3 innings of regulation. And Tyler Duffy has had a tough couple of appearances since his recall. We'll try to have a good one here. Pitch to Duvall to lead off the Cincinnati 7th. Strike 1.
And that's a good way to start.
Duffy pitched here a couple nights ago. Pitched a third of an inning and gave up 4 hits, 5 runs, 4 of them earned. There's a breaking ball, strike 2. The game here Friday night didn't get off on the right foot, and it decayed as the game went along, with the Reds scoring 15 times on 20 hits. 1-2.
Well, it got off to a good start for the first inning anyway, and then after that it kind of went downhill.
Yep.
We thought we were in for the homestand we were looking for, and the 5-1 lead, and boys are home and their old beds and happy to be there, and turned on us in a hurry.
Twins had 3 different 4-run leads, and none of them lasted very long. 1-2. That's hit well to left. And Tyler Duffy continues to get hit hard. He's already given up 4 home runs in 2 1/3 innings. Duvall hitting his 4th. And just like that, the Reds get the run back that the Twins scored in the bottom of the 7th.
And that's not the 2-strike pitch that he was looking for. He was trying to come up in under his hands, and he ended up leaving it down and in. And Duvall, a nice 2-strike swing right there, short to the ball, gets the barrel to it and hits it off the facing of the second deck.
Eight to 1. Barnhart will hit for the Reds. Outside, ball 1. Reds haven't had much fun, but they've enjoyed this weekend. At least the hitters have. And a base hit up the middle.
And they didn't pitch terrible yesterday. It was a well played ball game. It was they pitched well enough to win. They just didn't score any runs. Odorizzi threw the ball well.
And take a look at the home run by Duvall. It left the home plate at 107 miles per hour.
That's typically the danger zone to a left-handed hitter, but he got his barrel to it down and in. And he's a strong man, and he looks like he's starting to come around with his swing. He swung the bat well in this series and got off to a rough start, but he looks a lot better now.
Hey, you're a hitter, but you spent a lot of time studying pitching. What's going on with Tyler Duffy? He's now given up 10 hits in 2 1/3 innings.
It seems like every mistake he makes, because he doesn't have the velocity that most guys have coming out of the bullpen now, that 95, 96, he has to be able to get his breaking ball over early in the count, and he has to be able to pitch inside. I know it's surprising to say, to hear a guy who doesn't throw 95, but to be effective, you have to be able to pitch inside, and that's not necessarily over the inside part of the plate. Even if it's just 2 inches off, you make the hitter aware of that you will come in. Otherwise, the hitters just lean out. They're comfortable. They're not worried about getting backed off the plate. And you sit there and they just look for something on the outer 2/3 of the plate to get their arms extended. And they're up there just swinging freely. If you're able to, at no matter what velocity, if you're able to command inside and work inside and make the hitter conscious of the inside part of the plate, then it opens up the outside part of the plate. But if you can't do that, you're not going to get very many big league hitters out.
2-1. And a strike call. Well, there's a strike on the outside corner in a good spot. Kind of, I guess the same can be said now for Phil Hughes. That's what he needs to do, right? I mean, he doesn't have the velocity that he once had. He used to throw 94, 95, and it's substantially off of that. So he really has to have pinpoint control now to be able to get big league hitters out. Fly ball to right. It's got some carry to it, but short of the track. Grossman makes the catch, 1 away. Let's get today's big story from Kevin Gorey.
Yeah, the big story takes us to Cleveland. Seattle brought their bats today. Here is Robinson Cano in the second off of Josh Tomlin, his 100th home run as a Mariner. But the day belonged to the bottom of the order. Ryan Healy, first baseman, not 1 but 2 home runs. He goes 3 for 4 with 4 RBIs. Josh Tomlin now, guys, 0-4, an ERA over 9. Seattle red hot, 16-11, tied for second behind the world champions in Seattle. Kind of scruffing at 14-12, which is, I guess, what the Twins need right now until they get their players back and get rolling themselves.
Yeah, Tomlin took the loss against the Twins in San Juan in the 16th inning. Coming into the play today, both the Twins and Indians had scored 91 runs. The difference is the Twins had done it in 22 games, the Indians in 25 games. So if you think the Twins have struggled offensively, you're right, they have. But the Indians had scored the same number of runs with 3 more full games being played.
And they have the luxury of having Corey Kluber in that rotation who can win a lot of 2-1 and 1-0 ball games, and the rest of their staff is also very good. I mean, you can put it up with anybody in the league, but you know they're obviously going to need to hit better if they're going to win. But you look at a team like Seattle, who's I think the longest playoff drought in baseball, 14 years, and they've been building and they've been trying, and they've made more trades than anybody over the last few years, and they're really desperate for a winner there, and they're doing everything they can. They've added pieces. They've signed Robinson Cano a few years ago, obviously to that big deal. They got Nelson Cruz in there. They have power. They have Seager, who's one of the most underrated third baseman in the game. They have a lot of pieces there, and if the Twins aren't able to catch the Indians, that's one of the teams they're going to be competing with for those wild card spots. And just because we're happy that Cleveland lost, they lost to a team that is going to be one of the competitions. I think we're one of the teams competing for those spots, along with how much the Angels have improved. And we look at this pitch. He started inside and ran it back over, and that was effective. And he's back to your point earlier. If he's going to have success, if you don't have above average velocity, you have to have above average command.
Fly to center, and it's Dozier out short center field to make the catch. Inning starts with a Duvall home run, and the Reds have opened up an 8-1 lead with the home half of the 7th coming up. It is our privilege on this Sunday afternoon to bring you God Bless America.
Fans, please rise and welcome 2018 Twins audition winner Megan Kanoki as she leads us in the singing of God Bless America. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
The 10,000 excuses to drop a line, relax, and catch a variety of different fish in lakes, streams, and the rivers too. You can catch all the rock bass you want, thank you. Minnesota's great fishing is made possible by its many diverse bodies of water. The land of 10,000 lakes has more shoreline than California, Florida, and Hawaii combined. You can plan your fishing adventure at exploreminnesota.com and follow along on social media using #OnlyInMN. Good outing for Mahle, throwing his first pitches as a big leaguer in the 7th inning. And the pitch count very modest. This will be number 85. Max Kepler the batter, and he takes outside 2-1. You an outdoorsman?
Yeah. I've become more of one. I obviously played baseball all summer, so I didn't get to fish a whole lot, but it's something I enjoy doing.
Hot ground ball. Blandino's there, 1 away. And that will bring up Robbie Grossman. Fortunately, so many of the lakes are still covered in ice and might still be covered in ice a couple of weeks for the fishing opener. I know a lot of resort owners are concerned about the ice melting in time for people to get their boats in.
And even when it does, I don't know who's going to be swimming, because I think that water's going to be pretty cold.
Well, yeah, but you know.
But for fishing, yes.
You don't go swimming in Minnesota till June at the earliest anyway, at least in the lakes around here and northward. 1 strike to Grossman. Been a very late spring. So maybe we're just, like a month behind, and we'll have a wonderful fall. And everything will get pushed back.
And then
it'll be like 50 degrees in December.
I don't know about that.
You don't think?
What am I going to do with my snowmobile then?
1-2.
No, but if it's warm in October and hopefully we're playing playoff baseball,
be nice, wouldn't it? Billy Hamilton is in center, and Schebler moving over to right. And up and away. Been just a flat game for the Twins, and there's no explanation for it. Tom Kelly always used to say that everyone feeds off the vibe they get from the starting pitcher. My words, not his. But when the starting pitcher isn't very good, and surprisingly Berríos wasn't very good today, it just kind of subdues everybody else. 3-2, and Grossman flips it foul.
And it sometimes takes the air out of the balloon, so to speak. So when you give up runs in each of the first 4 innings, and you have base runners out there, and you're standing out there on defense, and it's a day that Twins didn't hit. They did the work in the cage, and then all of a sudden you're trying to get out there and get into the flow of the game, and you're spending most of the time on your feet playing defense. It really makes it tough to get anything going early in the ball game.
It's interesting you say that, because I've always felt too. All right, Berríos gave up 4 runs, but he gave them up in 3 different innings. If he had given up a grand slam in the first inning, and then the second inning he found something and looked like he was ready to run a few zeros off, that's a different deal entirely, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing how the flow of a game can change like that. Or a guy gives up runs early, and all of a sudden you see him settling in, and then it kind of calms everybody down. It doesn't feel like we have to get hits right here. You look at it and you go, all right, we've got time to get back in this ball game. But you could kind of feel the way that game was going, and he didn't have his best stuff today,
and it wasn't going to get any better. Yeah. Quite an outing for Mahle as he checks out after giving the Reds 6 1/3 innings. Losses in 3 games against the Reds. I've enjoyed working with you, and this has been your first 3 games that you broadcast. I hope you've enjoyed it, despite what we've seen on the field.
I have. It's been a challenge, but it's not as easy as you think it is. But you know what I've learned, and I've felt more comfortable with each inning and each time I've been out here. I'm looking forward to doing some more of it in the future.
Yeah, in fact, Toronto's coming in, and I think you're going to be dropping up in the booth a time or 2 for an inning or so at a time, working also with Roy Smalley. So strike 1 to Logan Morrison.
Doing the pregame show and the postgame show for that. And anytime I get to come to the ballpark, I could think of worse places to work. I know that. And this is amazing today. It's beautiful. Unfortunately, the game's not going our way, but it's been a great experience for me to do this.
Well, I know the viewers have enjoyed it as well. 1-1 now to Logan Morrison with the left-hander Garrett coming in. 19 outs recorded by Mahle.
It's a lot better than the cubicle right there.
Yes, it is. And it's of course a different world entirely. We're still getting paid to go to ball games when you and I went to the Metrodome, but on a gorgeous Sunday afternoon like this, man alive.
Yeah, you'd walk in there and you feel like you're walking into the dungeon. It was going through the tunnels underneath, and you're man, I wish we were outside.
Yeah, Jim Riggleman was talking about that. He brought some teams in his various assignments to the Metrodome and saw this gorgeous ballpark for the first time. Dribbled up the line, foul.
But we had a lot of success there. We played well, and teams hated coming in.
Yeah.
They were uncomfortable. The outfielders didn't like playing there. Day games were brutal for seeing the ball. You could not pick up anything off the bat. It was an uncomfortable series. And then we had the turf. We had teams that were built to play in that ballpark, and it was a huge home field advantage for us. And we, as much as the amenities weren't great for the players or the fans, it was still a place where we had success and won 2 World Series. And you know, we miss it on occasionally, but not very often.
Drive to center. Hamilton's out there now, and he makes the catch 2 away. Join Fox Sports North at the next viewing party on Thursday, May 3rd, beginning at 6:30 p.m. at Village Sports Bar at the stadium in White Bear Lake. You can watch the Twins take on Chicago, enjoy drink specials, register for tickets and prizes and more. Visit foxsportsnorth.com/events for details. And I'm guessing that you miss a lot of things about playing the game, but you miss those great series you had with the White Sox more than anything else. And I know you finished your career with them, and I've tried very hard to forgive you for that, and I'll get there eventually. But those were such fun series. The series in Chicago, the ones here, I mean, that's, other than the World Series, of course, those have been the highlights of my broadcasting career. I love that rivalry you guys had with the White Sox.
And I think Ozzie Guillen and Gardy and the characters that were involved, and AJ Pierzynski having started his career here, and the animosity he felt towards the Twins and everything else after they traded him, and there was just so much more that went into it other than just 2 teams playing each other 45 minutes apart. You know, it's on flight obviously, but you know, their fans would wear us out when we went there. It was just such a fun rivalry, and they hated the Metrodome, so it was so fun to see them come in and just get rattled. And they always accused us of, still to this day, when I went over their play, hey, tell me the truth, they turned those fans on in the 7th inning to help you guys hit home runs, didn't they? And I would look at them and go, of course they didn't. We had nothing to do with it. I said they turned the fans on because people would start leaving the games, the doors would open and the roof would collapse if they didn't have those fans turned on. They were on when both teams were hitting.
But foul.
But if you need a reason to figure out why you couldn't win in a place, and that seemed like a good excuse, then that was fine. But we knew that we were in there. And they hated playing there, and man, what a rivalry. Unfortunately, they got that World Series in 2005 that we never got as a ball club, but so they always could kind of hold that over us. But you know, it was that was some of my most, you know, fun as a ball player, was playing those and seeing what Konerko did as a player, and all the guys they brought in. It was like they were the opposite of us, and in the way they played, they were a home run in it. It was, you know, because of their ballpark, it was a great place to hit home runs. Their team was set up to hit the 3-run homer, and we were set up to hit the ball in the gap and run around and steal and play defense and do all that kind of stuff. And they would sit back, and it was such a contrasted playing styles, but at the same time, it was a great rivalry.
2-2 to Adrianza. Hey, the Twins went 35 years without somebody hitting 3 home runs in a game. You not only did it, you did it against the White Sox, and you did it in Chicago.
In a doubleheader, too. I think it was.
Yeah, but I mean, you got 3 in one game, and then, you know.
Yeah, now, it seems like we get 2 a year that do it.
That's
so
true.
It doesn't feel that special anymore. I mean, I think that was my 100th career homer in that game, too. I hit one to right, hit one to center, and hit one to left. And fortunately, I got to play with the guy who hit the 3rd one off of Boone Logan, and I let him know about that, of course. But yeah, that was a special game, and it was a special day. I think there was a lot of moments that you look back on, and you maybe thought you should have enjoyed them a little more at the time. It's hard.
Good at bat for Adrianza as he cracks one into the corner. And a throw to second base. There's nobody there. Votto has to come in and pick up the one-hop throw. They had the infield lined up to anticipate the throw to third base, and Duvall fired it toward an empty base. That's a nice alert play by Votto, following the runner and able to field the throw.
And you see he cut that ball off and left is what happened. So a lot of times you'll run a double cut. What I mean is you have two cutoff men down the line, and you will have that, and the third baseman will stay at third base in case there's a play at third. But so then you'll have the second baseman will swing over. He'll be behind the shortstop as the second cutoff man. And what happened there was he cut the ball off, and he got it to it before it got to the wall, and it ended up kind of messing up that play, and then he sort of threw it to the wrong base. But
second and third, 2 down, and now Castro doubled and scored his last time up. Regarding the rivalry with the White Sox, I always got the sense that Ozzie Guillen would have preferred to manage the Twins than the team he was managing. He would always compliment the Twins, the Piranhas, and all of that. Just got the sense that he was miscast as the White Sox manager.
I don't know. I don't think he traded that World Series ring.
No.
I think I don't feel like we were hated by anyone. I feel like people respected the way we played because we played the game hard and we got the most out of what we had. We ran the bases hard, and we did the little things that I think managers could appreciate, and I think that's kind of where that came from.
Torrey flattened Jamie Burke at the plate, and the White Sox manager Guillen complimented his own catcher getting flattened because of the style of play Torrey played with. 2-1.
And Cuddy went after, but Cuddy ran over AJ, and unfortunately AJ held onto the ball in that game 163 in Chicago, and King Griffey Jr. made the best throw he could possibly make at that time, and Cuddy ran him over, and it was just such a great rivalry. And we felt like it was a playoff series every time you matched up against them.
2-2 to Castro, and a great catch by Barnhart. Now you know why he's a Gold Glove winner. How in the world did he catch this ball?
On a fastball. Breaking balls you're anticipating in the dirt. He was set up in, and he missed in the other batter's box, and somehow.
That's one of the great saves
of
the year.
Glove save and a beauty right there.
Yes. Well, the Twins are in position here where they can at least make a little noise. A hit to the outfield might score a couple. 3-2 to Castro with Dozier on deck. And a breaking ball spun back to the screen.
For as hard as this guy throws, he loves throwing his slider to left-handed hitters, and he throws it. Runners in scoring position. He hasn't thrown a fastball to a left-handed hitter yet with a runner in scoring, and so far this season, and he's shown that again. And even in an 8-1 ball game, he's going with what his best is, because his job is to get left-handed hitters out, and he's going to go with his strengths. And he threw it there. It's not necessarily going to throw it again, but you see he has the confidence in it to throw it.
And he strikes out Castro with a fastball. Twins put 2 aboard, leave them in scoring position on to the 8th. It's 8-1.
3-game series with the Blue Jays starting Monday night at Target Field. We'll return to a Twins Live tomorrow at 6:30. Twins split 4 games with Toronto here last year, but won their season series with the Jays.
I don't know if they're trying to protect her eyes and face from the sun, or whether she's doing that as a tribute to Fernando Rodney. At any rate, Twins find themselves down big to the Reds. Blue Jays, by the way, beat Texas 7-2. The Blue Jays on their way here to open up the series tomorrow, and the Twins better be ready. They are on the verge of losing this series to a Reds team that's only won 6 ball games. Blue Jays are a good team, 15-12 on the year. They can score runs with the best of them.
Without Tulowitzki in the lineup, and
right.
Not a whole lot of Josh Donaldson, they've still found a way to score a bunch of runs, and it seems like they always come in here and they like to hit here. I don't know why, but maybe without Jose Bautista in that lineup, it won't be the same for him.
Well, 2 years ago they lost Edwin Encarnacion. Now Bautista not with them. So it seemed like there were always a lot of people buying seats in the upper deck in left field when they came to town. They wanted to go home with a home run ball, and maybe they won't hit any up there in this series coming up.
Let's hope not.
Votto leading things off in the 8th. He's walked twice and singled. $15 runs Friday, just 1 yesterday, 8 early runs here today. 7 of them early, another one added in the 7th. 2-2. Dribbled toward Duffy. Plenty of time to make the play, and he does one away. So Votto is retired, and that'll bring up Scooter Gennett.
And that's kind of the swing where the stat people, or the people who don't care about striking out, will say, how is that any better than taking a full swing at a pitch and striking out? And if the ball's never in play, then you never have a chance of getting on base. If the goal is to get on base, whether it's by hit or error, because it's a team game and the more base runners you have, then the better off you are. And you're talking about a guy who's led the league in on base percentage multiple times, showing that, hey, you can make an adjustment and it does do things for you, and it can help your team win games. And that's why I'm opposed to the 200 strikeouts and all the rest of it. Unless you're hitting 45 or 40 or 45 homers, for a guy to hit 20 homers and strike out 160 times, to me, it's hard to find a lot of value in that, because there's situations where you absolutely have to put the ball in play, whether it's
that one put in play, and it'll be a base hit for Gennett. He just stuck the bat out and dunked one into left field.
And whether it's, I was saying to continue my thought, like whether it's early in the ball game, the infield's back, you cannot strike out. All you need is ground ball to short or second. You score a run, you take an early lead, and the team that scores first has a better winning percentage. I mean, there's so many reasons to look at it, and that's why, yes, it's not as big a deal, and the pitching has definitely gotten better. The strike zone has gotten bigger. There's reasons for the strikeouts have gone up, but at the same time, I don't feel like guys care as much if they make it out by a strikeout or a pop out or whatever it is, and I think that stigma around the strikeout has kind of gone away, and I think it's changed the game completely, and part of it is, like I said, because of the pitching and the velocity and everything else. But you see one of the best hitters in the game able to make an adjustment with 2 strikes and make a conscious effort to just put the ball in play, and he's had success doing it.
Driven to center. Kepler is there, and that is out number 2. May 1st is Minnesota Lynx night here at Target Field. A limited number of Lynx theme night ticket packages are available that include a game ticket and a Twins Lynx co-branded cap. Learn more at twinsbaseball.com/Lynx or call 800-33-TWINS. Well, just to add a thought or two to your thoughts, every sports network runs highlights of baseball games, and the most riveting highlights to me are the defensive plays that are made on a daily basis in the game. The plays that in many cases can only be made by major leaguers, and the entertainment value of what happens in a baseball game when a ball is put in play, whether it's somebody tracking a drive in the gap, somebody into the hole making a backhanded stop, throwing across, that's what makes the game fun to watch. No highlight show, rarely will a highlight show include a strikeout unless it's the end of an inning or end of a threat, something like that. Strikeouts are boring. Nothing happens.
Unless you're a pitcher.
Unless you're a pitcher. We go to the bottom of the 8th.
You won't want to miss it. Take a look at Jose Barrios' start. What went wrong for the Twins youngster on the mound? The Jose on the other side, Jose Peraza, has had a great series. We'll take a look at that. We'll hear from the manager, Paul Mauder, and then head to the Fox Sports North Facebook page. Prism Research brings you our Twins final pitch. You'll get exclusive content, a recap of this series, and a preview of that series with Toronto, guys, which starts tomorrow night.
All right, thank you, Kevin. As we mentioned, the Twins will face 3 right-handed starters. Brian Dozier taking a strike. They'll face Aaron Sanchez, Marco Estrada, and Marcus Stroman. And of course the Twins will start 3 right-handed starters as well, because that's all they have right now in their rotation. Lance Lynn, Kyle Gibson, and Phil Hughes. Half swing and no swing. 1-1 to Dozier, leading off the 8th.
I might see if I can come back for that second game. I don't know what my numbers are off Estrada, but he knows what they are. And they're that was one of my guys that.
Oh, really?
That I knew that I was gonna probably have a good day off of. And I see him in the offseason. I used to see him in the offseason in Arizona, and he would look at me and go, "I'm so glad you're not playing anymore." It was like his kryptonite, I guess. But it was funny. I just one of those guys I saw really well.
Well, let's do this. You can still fit into your uniform, right? I mean, they must have one in the back room someplace. Go ahead and put on your uniform and walk around, you know, the Toronto clubhouse like you're going to be activated just to face him. Get into his head a little bit.
Oh, don't worry. I'll let him know. Whatever it takes for a W.
2-2, and Dozier shoots one through the right side for a base hit. Good at bat for Dozier, trying to put the ball in play. Twins down by plenty, and he's aboard to lead off the 8th inning.
Hits like this are the ones that can kind of get you rolling sometimes. You just ball about 6 inches off the plate. He's in another 2-strike count after striking out 3 times his first 3 at bats.
Sometimes
kind of stick the bat out there and just shoot it over there and leave with a positive feeling after today being down 8-1.
Sometimes a hitter will hit it over there, but you could tell from their swing they weren't trying to. That time it looked like Brian actually he got a pitch away, and he just decided to push it to the right side.
Well, it was either that or he just didn't want to strike out 4 times.
That could be too.
And sometimes you're just up there trying to make contact to put the ball in play, and he threw it, and he went with the pitch. He did it. It was a nice piece of hitting, but there's times it used to be the golden sombrero was a big deal. You know, you'd strike out 4 times and your teammates would be all over you. And I remember when Joe did it, I think it was probably the only time he did it. I left a picture of a golden sombrero in his shoe, and he was going off to the All-Star game. He takes his shoes out of his bag, and there's a golden sombrero.
Nice.
So it used to be a big stigma around that golden sombrero, and I think we were playing Chicago, and Konerko said, make sure you keep your ticket stubs from today's game, because you'll probably never see that again. It was the first time, and I think he maybe struck out 4 times again after that, but that was one of those rare moments in his career, and I thought I'd have a little fun with him.
Danny Darwin to the mound, with Garrett struggling with his control a little bit. Pitching with a 7-run lead. And the middle of the Twins lineup coming up. Wandy Peralta, another left-hander, the other left-hander in the Cincinnati pen, getting loose.
You'd like to see the Twins be able to score a couple of runs here late in this game and give them a little positive feeling coming out of this game heading into tomorrow night.
Strike on the outside corner, 3-1.
Because as a player, you're well aware of what the team's record was coming in, and you know this is a series that they were expected to win at home, and they expected themselves to win at home, and to go the way it's gone and give up the amount of runs they've given up, it's not a good feeling. But if you could finish with some positive at bats and give yourself a little momentum, even if you don't win the game, you can still have like Dozier's hit and Joe walking again, and get a little something going. Even if you get 2 or 3 runs right here, even though you don't win the game, you can still on the drive home look for the positives and feel good about something during the day.
5 pitches to Bauer. That's kind of what my experience was in high school. I felt like there were 5 balls thrown to me at one time.
Would you have hit the one that was 44 miles an hour?
I'd pick the slowest one. I know that. And done something with it. Well, Garrett can't get it out here in the 8th inning. He'll give way to another left-hander, Peralta, who will come in to face Rosario. The Twins trying to jump back into the ball game late here, down by 7. 7th win of the year, and Jim Riggleman's not taking anything for granted. So he'll bring Peralta in to face Rosario and probably be asked to pitch through the next 3, maybe even 5 batters, trying to get the Reds into the win column here.
And this is the kind of move that I think the players have gotten blamed a lot for games taking longer now. But to bring in one lefty for another, I know it looked like he was starting to lose his command a little bit, but it's an 8-1 ball game, and you bring in one lefty to after taking out another lefty, and a guy who's got plus stuff. I mean, a 95, 96 mile an hour fastball, a good breaking ball. He walked Maurer, unfortunately, but I don't know. I think sometimes the blame goes on the players, but to me, these pitching changes didn't happen 10 years ago. This stuff, you had an 8-1 lead, and you were trying to preserve your bullpen, and now it's.
Might have gotten a mound visit and a stern lecture and a really, a furrowed brow from the pitching coach or the manager. Throw it over the plate, let's go. But every pitching change takes roughly 5 minutes. That's about how long it takes. So you add those up, and there's no secret why the game is longer than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, and I get it. You can see him start to lose it a little bit, but if it was 4-1, it would make a lot more sense to me. But in an 8-1 ball game, and maybe you're trying to keep his pitch count down, and maybe you're trying to, you have a stretch of games where you're playing 10 days in a row or whatever, and you're going to need him at some other point. You don't want him throwing 25 pitches in an inning or an outing, and he's not available tomorrow. But I don't know. He's out there. Let him face the guys, in my opinion. But
well, I bounced this off of you. You didn't like it, so you're in the majority of people who never like my opinions. What would happen if they allowed 1 mid-inning pitching change per side?
It just changes the complexity of the game too much for me.
Barring injury. If someone gets hurt, it's a different matter, of course.
Yeah, then you're going to have people taking advantage of that.
Rosario lunges, strike 3, and that'll bring up Escobar.
I think it changes the game so much where it swings the advantage to the manager on the offensive team, because then you can use your pinch hitters. If you have a guy like Sano over there and they don't have any righties up, and all of a sudden it's a chance where you can hit a 3-run homer and you got the lefty on the mound, you're going to run him up there with no fear of not being a favorable matchup. It's just so many things so many ways it affects the game that I'm sure I'm not even thinking of. But
well, one of the ways the game has changed too, bench players are so few. I mean, most teams carry a 13-man pitching staff and have 3 bench players. One of them's a backup catcher who's probably not going to play. So they're basically 2 possible moves for a manager in every game. Bouncer to the left side. And safe at first. Escobar stays out of the double play, and a hard slide at second base with Maurer taking out Blandino.
And Joe was just trying to slide early and avoid contact, and I don't know if Blandino was expecting contact or what, but he ended up jumping on top of him, and Joe he did everything Joe was trying to avoid.
The throw from the third baseman Suarez looked like it kind of took Blandino into the baseline, into the base runner.
That's a good thing that wasn't Michael Kadire 10 years ago, because I don't think Blandino would be getting up right now.
He would, but from the outfield grass.
Yeah, that's talk about where the game's changed. I mean, he stepped directly into the baseline. There was no attempt to avoid the runner at that point, because he knows there's not going to be any contact.
But because of that, he was able to reach into the base runner and make the catch on a throw that was sailing towards right field.
Yeah, normally on a play like that, the second baseman probably would have just ran across the bag and make sure you get the first out.
And Kepler sends a 2-hopper to Votto, and the Twins threaten but don't score in the 8th. Reds in great shape to take this series 2-1. Tyler Duffy drops a breaking ball over. Mitch Garver in the ball game at first base, spelling Joe Mauer.
It's going to be interesting to see if there's any, after another 2 short starts in this series, and with Duffy throwing this many pitches, to see, you never want to speculate what's going to happen, but you're guessing there's probably going to be a need for another pitcher to come up here, and you don't know what's going to happen, but
if there's a move, it might involve McGill too, because he's not going to be able to pitch tomorrow after pitching 2 1/3 innings here tonight or today. And Duffy gets a strikeout, 1 away.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if there's any moves made or what they are, because if there happens to be another short start tomorrow, let's hope there's not, but if there happens to be, you wonder who you're going to go to with any length. I mean, they've been used a lot down there. The formula yesterday worked out perfect. Starting pitcher goes deep, and then you have the matchups you want. But when you're asking guys to throw 2 1/3 inning and 2/3 out of the bullpen, it makes them unavailable the next day, and you're kind of really stuck in that situation. And you never want the manager to not be able to take his starting pitcher out of the game if he feels like it's time. You're forcing the guy to stay in there for, either after he looks like he's ran out of gas or he's getting hit hard or whatever it is. You want Paul Molitor to have those options. We'll see what happens moving forward.
Lance Lynn had a short start in New York. He'll make the start tomorrow for the Twins. 2-1 to Barnhart. Now 2-2. And you see the pitching matchups. Aaron Sanchez is healthy, had all sorts of fingernail issues last year. So far, so good. And Lance Lynn hoping to pitch the Twins, give the Twins his best start of the year so far tomorrow. And Duffy strikes out Barnhart, 2 down.
And Duffy looks like he's settled down since he first came in the game, and he's making his case that he wants to stick around. And that was good depth, good tilt on that. That was probably the best breaking ball he's thrown today. He really got on top of that. Got a chase, started in the zone, ended up out of the zone. It's kind of the formula you get when you have 2 strikes and when you're working ahead in the count.
Breaking ball to get ahead of Blandino, 0-1. And now a fastball. And what we've seen here in this inning, this is the 3rd inning that Duffy's worked. Fastball's clocked at 94. That's high end for Duffy. I mean, that's plenty if he can locate it.
Yes.
Breaking ball low, 1-2. Duffy was greeted by a home run, or with a home run by Duvall. Since then, a couple of singles. But he may have.
That's a nice pitch right there.
And he thought it was strike 3. Headed towards the dugout, got all the way to the grass off the mound. But instead, it's 2-2. And a fastball sent high to the right field corner. Grossman with it, and a clean 1-2-3 9th inning for Tyler Duffy.
Tickets for tomorrow, but he showed up today.
The Blue Jays jersey on, the maple leaf cap.
Or maybe just a big Joey Votto fan.
Now that could be too. David Hernandez just activated a couple of days ago, pitched here on Friday night. He'll get the 9th inning with the Twins down a whole bunch, 8-1. Robbie Grossman will lead things off. Then Logan Morrison, A-Ray Adrianza.
And he's another one of those Reds pitchers that's comfortable pitching inside, especially the left-handed hitters. He's done that throughout his career. He's shown that he's got command on that side of the plate, so they'll be ready to pull him.
Missing inside with a fastball, ball 1. Right off the end of the bat, 1-1. Reds got 6 1/3 innings from their starter. And the Twins, all depends on your perspective, but they got a short start from Berrios. Taylor Rogers struggled when he came in. But Matt McGill and Tyler Duffy were able to save the balance of the bullpen. On the ground, Votto finds Hernandez, 1 away.
They did a good job. It's exactly what you need in that situation from those guys. The last thing you want to do is end up having another game where you have to burn through your whole bullpen. They did a good job. They did what was asked of them. They both came in, and for McGill making his first appearance for the team, that'll make a good impression on manager Paul Molitor, and he's set himself up to hopefully be relied on a little bit more.
Morrison strokes one into the right field corner, and he'll have a double. Well, Morrison might very well finish his afternoon 1 for 3, and that'll bring up Adrianza.
And it looked like he was ready to pull. He was trying to go away. He missed it right down the middle. What we've seen from him in this series, he's made good contact. He's made solid contact. He's hit the ball hard a few times, and hopefully get a little confidence, get him comfortable. You know, he was late to spring training, and you know, sometimes you miss that first part of camp, and you feel like you're behind, and maybe his swing's catching up now, and his luck's catching up to how hard he's actually been hitting the ball also.
You know, it's interesting. You talk to players, hitters, position players, the end of spring training, and they'll all say the same thing. They're ready to go. They don't need that last week of spring training. And yet I've heard you say it, Bert has said it, Roy has said it, that the pitchers are ahead of the hitters, and yet the hitters want to get out of spring training as soon as they can.
Well, I feel like at least the first part of spring training, you don't play every day. You play every second day, and you get 2 at-bats, and I don't really feel like you kind of get anything out of it. And all it is basically to try and get the pitchers ready. The hitters really need to play every day for the last 10 days, or play almost every day for the last 10 days of spring training to be ready for the season. But those 2 at-bats don't really do a whole lot for you, other than kind of give you something and let you know where your timing's at, and give you something to work on for the days you're not playing, you're staying back, or whatever it is.
Down and in 3-1 with Castro on deck.
And I don't know, to me, the most important thing is I wanted to have my timing that last week of spring training before you left, and before you're sending your stuff up on the truck, and you're getting ready you're looking forward to opening day and whatever it is, and you want to feel like that timing's there at that point. The first few weeks don't matter. It's all because you see it, the starting pitcher goes an inning and a third or 2 innings and throws 30 pitches or whatever it is, and
that's foul. Not by much, but foul.
And you're trying to build those guys up, and it is true. The most of spring training is for the pitchers, but when you come out of there, and then you always see the spring training doesn't matter. It only matters it doesn't matter if you're a veteran guy who's had good years in the past. If you go into spring training, you're trying to win a job, and you don't have a good spring, you're not going to make the team.
Right.
So it does matter. Then you see guys who have great springs and get off to a slow start. Yes, it doesn't matter, but at the same time, you still want to feel confident. You want to feel like you have your timing at least, and your A swing coming out of spring training. And if you don't have those reps early, sometimes you're not able to find it.
Three and 2 to Adrianza. That's hit hard to center, but right at the center fielder. Hamilton's there to make the catch. 2 away, and that'll bring up Castro. Castro with a double and 2 strikeouts. Twins with 7 hits, just 1 run. It was Castro who scored it after his leadoff double in the 6th. Down and in a ball. The hope is, as the Twins move forward here, that if not in the Toronto series, after the Toronto series, Byron Buxton will be ready to go. This team misses his energy, and that's not going to help much if your starting pitcher struggles the way the Twins have struggled in the starting pitching department the last week and a half.
But sometimes just having a positive energy, or a guy who brings that energy, brings that smile, whatever it is, sometimes even just having him out on the field can make a difference. And as a pitcher, I don't know, I've never pitched in the big leagues, whatever it is, but to know that you've got the best defensive player behind you in the field, it makes a difference. And not saying Max Kepler hasn't done a great job out there. He's filled in very nicely in center field, but.
And Castro hooks one over the first base bag, and that'll go into the corner. Another double for Castro and a run for the Twins. It's 8-2.
And we talked about the positives you can take out of a game like that. And for Castro, who's been struggling, 2 productive at-bats in a row, two doubles in a row, and he's hopefully going to take something away from this and feel good about it, even though he won't be happy with how many runs he gave up. And a catcher's first priority is to get his starting pitcher late in the game, and he wasn't able to do that today, but he had a couple of productive at-bats, and hopefully we'll sleep well tonight and come back tomorrow ready to go.
Just Castro's second run batted in of the season. And Dozier, who punched a single to right field his last time up, will get another at bat. High fly to left. Adam Duvall coming in to make the catch, end the series, and the Reds come to Minnesota and take 2 out of 3. Twins had high hopes, Anthony, coming into this series. The Reds were struggling, but they looked good, hit the ball very well, punished the Twins for the most part, and ended up taking the series.
Took the series, scored 24 runs in the 3 games. Reds take the finale 8-2. The final will show you how they roughed up Jose Barrios. We'll hear from Paul Molitor and we'll preview the Blue Jays series coming up next on Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink.